Hello. I was just going through some little special contents tidbits for buying the Chronicles edition of the game. And while there were some voices that I was not anticipating, oh man, alright, okay. So then, if I do recall... Okay, oh man, yeah. After that long-ass trial sequence, part 1 of the trial, oh my god. We now head into the second part of the investigation. As for what information we will dig out of this, who knows? Second of November, 3:38 p.m. Sholmes' suite. I still can't quite believe what just had happened.
I know. I inquired with the bailiff after the court session was adjourned, and it seems Mr. Vigil was taken to hospital to recover.
Right. 10 years ago now, Mr. Vigil attempted to commit suicide by jumping out of the window of the prison governor's office, but ever since then, he's completely blocked the memory of those events from his mind. Nobody knew his secret, not his family, not even the man himself, but I forced it out into the open. Was it wrong of me to do that? Did I overstep the mark, I wonder?
Runo!
Oh, Iris.
You were miles away. Anyway, I brewed a fresh pot of soothing tea for you.
Oh, thank you.
You and Susie have had an exhausting day so far, haven't you? Oh. Thank you, Iris. How thoughtful of you.
Do you happen to know where Mr. Sholmes is? When we came out of the courtroom back into the defendant's antechamber, he disappeared.
Oh, no. I don't know. He just suddenly sprang his feet and left. All he said was, I must leave.
Hey, Ghostly Arrow, it's going alright. A little bit out of breath because I just had a bunch of chores done today, but yeah, all's good. Had to carry baskets of laundry up and down the stairs.
I wonder if he's pursuing the mystery of Inspector Gregson's death. Well, you know what Hurley's always saying, don't you? There are mysteries in this world that should perhaps never be solved. For the construction of a solution only comes at the expense of the destruction of something else.
What does that mean?
He knows very well when you open someone else's old wounds, you often open your own too. But he can't just take his own advice and leave well alone. Solving mysteries is too daunting to him.
That's so true.
But that's what I like about Hurley after all.
I suppose that's the lot of a great detective in some ways.
So then, let's have tea, and then I'll give you a hand.
Oh, do you have time, Iris?
Yes, I finished this month's manuscript at last, with barely a day to spare before the deadline. Oh, I'm so looking forward to it. A brand new story to read in the adventures of Sherlock Sholmes.
I almost said Sherlock Holmes. It's Sherlock Sholmes in this case. Copyright infringement stuff, which is why they had to change Sherlock Holmes to Herlock Sholmes. Localization team be doing that stuff.
You know, I always had Hurley's violin in the days before I have a deadline.
You do? Or Mr. Sholmes?
I'm sure that's very wise, Iris. How sensible of you.
Ducky YTO. Hello. I'm not sure who you are. Probably from the Reawakened server, I imagine. I just don't know who it is exactly because it says first time chatter. Ah, okay, I recognize you, Sovereign. Hey, yeah, that username is definitely a giveaway. Does my sound good? Yeah, it sounds good. Okay.
Now then, my dear fellows, let's make a plan of action before we continue our investigation.
Alright.
So, how did it go in court this morning?
Well, we still don't know the truth about what really happened, but one thing's increasingly clear. Lord Von Zieks definitely didn't do it.
Oh, goody!
Yes, that's right. We managed to uncover several new facts as well.
Oh, really?
And there was another development too. Kazuma.
Yes, it's quite clear now that Kazuma-sama is not himself. The way he's acting, it's almost as if he's possessed.
I know. I mean, at the end of the proceedings earlier, he was like a bloodhound the way he was chasing down Mr. Vigil's forgotten past. He's not normally so mercilessly persistent. What's going on in his head, I wonder? I really need to sit down with Kazuma and try to understand what he's going through. If Gregson was really murdered the day before his body was discovered, then Lord Von Zieks has to be innocent, you see.
What? The day before? Well, that should be easy enough to work out. Just by examining the corpse, surely.
Yes, you would expect so, but curiously, no time of death was included in the autopsy report.
That is curious.
There are still unanswered questions about Lord Von Zieks, though, aren't there?
Ah, do you mean...
I mean, what was he doing there on Fresno Street that day in the first place?
Well, according to the man's testimony, he said he was investigating Inspector Gregson, didn't he?
And it turns out that little room was actually the inspector's secret office.
Oh! Ooh, that sounds like it has all the makings of a wonderfully devilish plot.
But then why was that notice board in there covered in all those particular papers? Papers about cases with a link to the Reaper. I'm starting to get a bad feeling about this.
Oh dear, that sounds more like something horribly devilish.
We must start by looking into Inspector Gregson's movements as of late.
I never imagined I might have to be investigating an inspector's movements.
Well, according to the entry in his diary, he was carrying out an incognito investigation of the Red-Headed League the day before his death.
Oh, you mean he was doing the same as Hurley?
Well, Mr. Sholmes was trying to apply, whereas the inspector was supposed to be investigating.
I do wish it had been the other way around.
Anyway, as it turns out, the inspector who went to investigate the Red-Headed League that day wasn't actually Gregson at all. It was Mr. Vigil, in possession of Gregson's identification.
You know what that sounds like to me? Establishing an alibi.
Oh my, yes, you're absolutely right, Iris.
But why would Gregson need an alibi?
It would appear that the inspector had something to do that he wished to keep secret.
I don't believe it. I always thought he was just a harmless lover of fish and chips.
But perhaps they were seasoned with something a little more potent than salt and vinegar.
I think perhaps we should try to move away from food analogies.
Well, anyway, if Lord Von Zieks felt the need to investigate Gregson...
Yes, I agree. We must try to find out what he knows.
Vigil, you say? Isn't that the name of the lady who came to visit early yesterday?
That's right. To ask Mr. Sholmes if he would help her to find her missing husband.
Only Mr. Sholmes completely passed the buck to us. Actually, did you say that Mr. Vigil has been taken to the hospital? Do you know which one?
Ah, it's St. Sinners.
I'm starting to wonder if all the other hospitals in London have closed down.
But that's amazing, Runo. You found the lady's husband already.
Well, I suppose I have. By accident.
And 10 years ago, while Mr. Vigil was the chief warder at the prison, he was responsible for overseeing the professor's incarceration.
No!
So when the convict escaped, he was held responsible and immediately dismissed.
Sometimes I really don't want to grow up.
There's more. For 10 years after that, while he was ostensibly working as a peddler, he also had another secret job. He was paid by Gregson to be his stand-in, to impersonate the inspector.
To impersonate Grexy? But why?
I have absolutely no idea.
Ginny was right. I'm starting to think all adults are up to no good now. Including you, Runo.
I haven't paid anyone to impersonate me.
That means he has ties to the professor and to Inspector Gregson now. So I do think we ought to pay a visit to Mr. Vigil, don't you?
Back to St. Sinners then.
Well, I think it's clear what we need to do, isn't it? Let us investigate, my dear fellows.
Oh, Iris. You're even more enthusiastic than usual today.
If anyone has anything to hide, my special Wilson shooting iron will soon set them straight.
That water pistol?
It's stuffed full of piping hot extra blend of mine.
And I'm quite sure it'll be very effective.
I'd better be careful not to hide anything. Well, it feels like a little strange that Mr. Sholmes is nowhere to be seen, but still. Let's go and see what we can find out.
Yes.
Alright, to the hospital. Oops. Well, 2nd of November, St. Sinners Hospital, Ward 3. What? The fuck? He's not here. Or is he? Patient treatment notes. What did he say, I wonder? Endlessly obliging. I suppose that's referring to the patient in this bed.
I would think so. And until Mr. Vigil is a little more stable, it's probably just as well that he has a kindly person in the neighboring bed.
The endlessly part is a little worrying though, isn't it? I mean, what if Mr. Vigil suddenly declared that he'd like to take a trip out the window? Would this endlessly obliging patient simply open it for him and say, "Be my guest"?
Let's check with the doctor later.
Oops. Ah, look. A pair of crutches. Before we came to Britain, I didn't realize they were used here as well.
I'd imagine they were imported into Japan from Great Britain in the first place.
Oh, so no one in all of Japan broke a leg before their arrival? Anyway, the sight of these things doesn't bring back good memories for me.
Oh dear, did you injure yourself once and need to use some?
When I was little, I thought they looked fun, so I borrowed a pair to play with, but then I slipped and sprained my ankle.
I see.
They contain powerful magic, those wooden staffs. The power to heal, and the power to harm.
I think a certain cheeky little boy managed to cause the harm all by himself.
These must be the patient treatment notes. Let's see. Tendency to jump from windows. Remember to place cushion at the base of the wall outside. Aren't we a story up from the ground here?
Oh dear, poor Mr. Vigil.
I can't help feeling that there's a better solution to the problem than a cushion, though. Finding something you've lost isn't always a happy experience, it turns out. Pursuing the truth can be a very dark business sometimes, can it?
Yes, I'm afraid it can.
What's this? This notice caught my eye before, actually.
I suppose it's some sort of slogan for the ward. A cheerful welcome message, perhaps.
Let's see. Pay with good cheer, leave with good cheer. Well, look at that! You were spot on, Mr. Sato. It's full of cheer.
I wonder how many discharged patients pay their medical bills with good cheer, though.
Once I had a very painful injection when I fell ill with a cold. I felt awful already. So why did I have to suffer the sting of the injection as well as the bill? I yelled at the doctor.
Oh dear, what terrible treatment.
Looks like the guy isn't even here. Mr. Vigil's isn't even here, so I guess, is that a bedpan? There are lots of bottles in that cabinet there, aren't there? Do you think it's safe to keep them there?
If you were a patient here, I feel you'd take some medicine by mistake when you were half asleep.
That is a worry, but at least the cabinet has a lock, even though it's only a flimsy looking one.
Oh, I no doubt you managed to unlock that somehow while you were half asleep as well.
There are limits even to what I can do when I'm half asleep, you know, Mr. Sato. Okay, looks like we can't do anything here for the moment. I guess we could return here and see if it is anything new. 2nd of November, room on Fresno Street. Okay, there's nothing fucking new here. Okay, I guess we go to the prison? Yeah, I guess we just talk to Von Zeeks. 2nd of November, local prison, cell 1.
Lord Von Zeeks is reading. Look.
He doesn't seem like he wants visitors, does he?
But he must have noticed that we're here, surely. What do you Nipponese want? That's no way to greet the lawyer who's trying his hardest to prove your innocence, is it? Perhaps not. Huh? I apologize. So what can I do for you, Mr. Naruhodo?
Lord Von Zeeks, speaking earnestly.
Oh, the fog will lift over London for the first time in months tomorrow.
This does feel very, very strange. I must say, I was impressed. Oh, well, thank you. Not by you, by your fellow Nipponese, your prosecutor friend. Oh, I see, yes. It's sardonic, don't you think? For a man such as me, so loathing of the Nipponese, to be entirely at the mercy of the two of you. I suppose it's retribution for having played the part of the Reaper all these years. Played the part? You once told me that you gladly allow people to believe you were the Reaper, because it helped reduce the amount of serious crime that took place in London. If keeping quiet and playing the parts benefits the cause, a cause I myself am committed to pursuing, then why would I choose to say anything? But the henchman of a criminal killed by the Reaper attacked you only the other day. And that was just the most recent of many attempts on your life, wasn't it? Someone is clearly profiting from your silence about all this. Someone is using you.
Believe me, ever since the Reaper first appeared, I've been doing my utmost to expose him, or rather, expose the organization.
Ah, it's a whole organization?
It's inconceivable that all those accidents were orchestrated by one man. No, the Reaper always appears to have very accurate information about the accused in each case, which can only mean that somebody at Scotland Yard is involved.
Someone at... You can't mean...
It's taken me many years, but I finally identified the central figure in this Reaper organization. Tobias Gregson.
No!
Gregson? The Reaper? So that's why he's after him. Well, that's why he was investigating him. So, the reason you're investigating Inspector Gregson is because you intended to expose him as the Reaper?
As I said, the Reaper of the Bailey is no single person. It's a highly secret organization with close ties to Scotland Yard. But there's no doubt that Gregson was a key member of that organization.
I don't believe it.
Are you saying that that he was behind all those awful criminals meeting there?
Gregson didn't do the dirty work himself.
Oh,
He was the tactician. His job was to covertly investigate the marks and plot their assassinations. In order to do that without arousing suspicion, he regularly needed a firm alibi.
Which is where Mr. Vigil came in, posing as the inspector.
Vigil knows nothing of the Reaper, but the room he rents on Fresno Street was almost certainly the headquarters of the operation. Gregson would have met the assassins there for briefings.
So we don't actually know who carried out the killings then.
Actually, I do have a name.
You... what?
well, if you can name the man, you have the identity of the Reaper already then.
Or, if I can name the woman.
Oh,
She's a young woman by the name of Asa Sheen.
Really? Her name is Asa Sheen. Literally assassin. Bruh. That's a little on the nose. Okay. Wait, what? Sheen? Miss Asa Sheen. The true name of a terrifying killer I know only too well. She came to Japan posing as a visiting student and murdered Dr. John H. Wilson. Then, just when it seemed that diplomatic protection would help her escape Japan and conviction, the mysterious woman was herself murdered in a small summer beach hut. And that woman was actually the Reaper of the Bailey?
Mr. Naruhodo, this perhaps isn't the place to discuss.
No, of course not. We can't mention it here. The fact that she killed John H. Wilson, because Iris doesn't know, and it's very likely that the man was her father.
Asa Sheen. I should let father know at once.
Yes, I agree.
Kazuma, is it? Kazuma Sogi. You say he's a friend of yours.
My best friend. He's the whole reason I got to come to Britain. It was all on his merits. I have nothing but respect for him.
Yes, I understand that only the very best students are selected for such opportunities, and I had a fine demonstration of how sharp he is in the proceedings earlier today. He missed nothing. In fact, his flawless performance very much reminded me of his father.
Genshin Asogi, the professor.
It's true that the aristocracy at the time was the root of numerous grave societal problems. They were abusing their power, playing with the common man as pawns in politics, in economics, in war. In many ways, Asogi was carving out a canker from society that we British couldn't deal with ourselves.
Ah, I see.
But that's precisely why it makes no sense. Clint Von Zieks was a noble and upstanding man. He wasn't corrupt. Why did that damn Nipponese have to go and take my brother's life? In spite of having once saved mine.
He saved your life?
How did that happen?
It was 10 years ago, on a foggy night. What was to be the professor's final strike had sent a wave of panic through the capital.
So Clint Von Zieks had already been killed at this point then.
Genshin and I were walking down some back streets at a late hour. Of course, at that point, I had no idea of the true nature of the man at my side. All of a sudden...
Don't make a peep. You're coming with us.
We were surrounded. All of our assailants were armed with pistols, their faces obscured by scarves. Clint was not only from noble heritage, he was a brilliant prosecutor as well. The scum of London hated the sight of him, and they had no sympathy for his younger brother either. I'd been targeted several times before already.
Yeah, it's Von Zieks alright. We got him.
I could hear them murmuring amongst themselves. I knew they were after me, but just when I thought my time had come.
I'm guessing that's supposed to be Genshin. What would I give Mr. Genshin Impact Asogi? Actually, you know what? I'll just give him the Cosmo voice because he's supposed to be Cosmo's father.
If I let them kill you, Clint would never forgive me. It was Asogi's voice, just a whisper in my ear. After that, I don't remember exactly what happened. The next thing I knew, there was a silence all around. Genshin lay on the cobbled street. Blood was seeping from his left hand. He'd shielded me. Two days later, they arrested him, on suspicion of being London's most notorious mass murderer ever, the Professor.
How awful for you.
All at once, I lost the brother I revered, and the foreign friend I held in such high regard.
I'm so sorry, Lord Von Zieks.
That's the end of my miserable tale. I never thought I'd recount it to anyone.
Well, thank you for confiding in me.
The Professor, the Reaper, and Inspector Gregson. I wonder just how intimately related they all are.
I still can't quite believe that Gregson was essentially the Reaper, giving assassination orders to Giselle Brett.
Mr. Naruhodo, let's go and inform my father. I'm sure our government will want to hear about this new information.
Oh, That means I get to meet your daddy, Susie. Hooray!
Yes. Alright. Let's head back to the Great Waterloo Hotel then. Yep. Second of November, Great Waterloo Hotel foyer.
I thought it yesterday, and I think it again today. This place is so princely.
It's a wild guess, but I have a feeling you'll think the same tomorrow too.
My tea has a finer fragrance than whenever they're serving in the tea room here, though, wouldn't you say?
Oh, look what we have here. Look who we have here, sorry. This is an unexpected pleasure.
Ah, Father.
Oh, is this your daddy, Susie? How lovely!
What a charming young lady. And you are? Oh, really? So you're the author of The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, are you?
That's me, Iris Wilson, at your service, sir. Susie's been such a wonderful friend to me over the last year, you know.
Well, Mr. Wilson, I must say I read your work regularly and with much interest.
Iris actually lives with Mr. Sholmes, you know, Father.
Is that so? Well, perhaps that goes some way to explaining that bright look in your eyes.
Heh.
You wouldn't be smiling so airily if you knew just how bright she is. Believe me.
Now then, young Naruhodo, it was a pleasure seeing you in action earlier. As an invitee of the symposium, I was allowed to observe from the gallery, after I twisted some arms, and I must say, it was a truly exemplary performance.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Although I'm fairly sure you were omitted by Cosmo on the end there.
Oh, no, please don't misunderstand. It was you who impressed me.
Really?
You didn't miss a step against Asogi, and we all know how capable he is. Really, to have matured into such a fine defense lawyer in less than a year is quite extraordinary.
It's very kind of you to say so, and really nice to hear.
What I saw in court today confirmed what I'd been hoping for. The favor I mentioned yesterday, Naruhodo, I trust you haven't forgotten.
Oh, no, you did mention something, didn't you?
But first, we have something to report, Father.
Of course. Shall we take the tea while we discuss matters further?
I wonder where Judge Jigoku has got to.
Father, do you know about the so-called Reaper of the Bailey?
I've heard rumors. Some members of the judiciary explained it all to me yesterday. Of course, when I was a visiting student here in London, the Reaper was yet to emerge.
Right, he didn't appear till after the case when the visiting students had already returned home.
Lord Van Zeeks, who was in the dock today. That was Barak, the younger brother of Clint Van Zeeks, I believe.
That's right, and he's known throughout London as the Reaper, as you've heard. But the truth is, it wasn't him behind all those mysterious deaths. It was somebody else.
I see. So what you're saying is, there's been a professional killer at work here.
Exactly. Someone by the name of Asashin, in fact.
I beg your pardon? Did you just say Asashin? You mean that Giselle Brett woman was responsible for the killing of my great friend?
Oh no! A friend of yours was killed?
Professor Mikotoba, I think perhaps we shouldn't discuss this right now. because the friend of the professor is talking about is Dr. John H. Wilson. And that's not something we want Iris to find out about. Not like this anyway.
I just remembered something. Biscuits! This hotel has the most delicious looking biscuits.
That was rather out of the blue.
She's doing this deliberately.
I think I'll go and see if I can purchase some.
Hello, Helmy? And thank you for the follow. Oh, it's Omar. Oh, hey, Omar, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it took me a bit to put 2 and 2 together. But yeah. Oh boy. Yep, you're in for a long time because there's gonna be a lot of voice acting I'm putting out for this game.
I wonder, would you like to come too, Iris?
Oh yes! You just try to leave me behind.
So that young girl is called Iris Wilson, is she?
Yes, that's right.
And she's the author of all those adventure stories starring the great Detective Sholmes. But the name of the credited author isn't Iris, is it? It's Dr. John H. Wilson.
Yes, I know. That's the name of her father, you see.
Her father? Dr. John H. Wilson. I was deeply indebted to the man for all the kindness he showed me during my time in London. That's why I was keen to reciprocate and invite him to the Imperial May University 4 years ago.
But he was murdered last year by Giselle Brett. Why? Why would the Hand of the Reaper stretch all the way to Japan? Iris knows nothing about the case, but it seems very likely that the victim, Dr. Wilson, was her father.
Well, I can't say that we ever spoke about his family, so I don't know if he had a daughter or not. But I think I could say with some certainty that he was never the great detective's partner.
So, it could have been another Dr. Wilson, you think?
Well, John and Wilson are both common names after all. Still, it's probably best not to mention this to the young lady until we can be sure.
That's what we thought, yes.
We're back with cinnamon biscuits.
Oh, they smell delicious, Iris.
I think cinnamon will go very well with the tea they serve here. Don't you, Susie?
Yes, I'm sure you're right, Iris.
I love this so far as a fan of the series. Oh, I didn't know you're a fan of Ace Attorney. Yeah, I like Ace Attorney as well. In fact, this is like the only game so far that I haven't completed as of yet. I've already completed the other games, but I never streamed them because this was before I played them before I even started streaming in general. So yeah, this is like the only Ace Attorney game I haven't played. I haven't seen Judge Jigoku for a while, have you? Have you? Guilty! Ha 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 ha! But that guilty is still ringing in my ears.
No, now you mention it, I haven't seen him since this morning either. I suppose since the symposium's opening was postponed, he'll have gone to explore at the great exhibition.
I only played the first game sadly, but didn't finish it, but I love all of it. I'm about to get the series soon, hopefully. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah, well, as you know, or probably don't know, this game is the prequel to the Ace Attorney series. We're playing as Phoenix Wright's ancestor, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. And yes, and Ryunosuke is on a study tour, working as a lawyer in Great Britain. Yeah. This is some prequel shit.
That reminds me of something you mentioned yesterday. About Judge Jikoku having once been in the dark himself.
That's pretty cool, not gonna lie. Yeah, and according to various game reviews, this game is arguably like the best in the series so far. Yeah, because this takes place. Yeah, Yeah, within the 1900s. Yeah, it just takes place in the 1900s. Figured out. Being the OG attorney. Yeah. Quite literally being the OG attorney of this Phoenix Wright series. Also, the inclusion of the 3DS into it instead of the usual 2D style is cool. Yeah. Although, although it did kind of get an initial bad rap when they first introduced the 3D concept into Ace Attorney within Ace Attorney Dual Destinies, because the 3D modeling, well, the 3D animation wasn't as sharp, so the character mouth movements were kind of janky until they improved it later on into the Spirit of Justice James and this game as well. So yeah.
Oh yes, it was all tied up with that accursed trial.
The closed trial of Cosmo's father.
Seishiro was trying to mitigate Genshin's guilt, so he took the stand to testify. But he got a little carried away and, actually managed to break the witness stand.
Oh my.
Oh my god, he slammed the witness stand so hard it broke.
He was also said some contemptuous words about the British Empire, for which he was charged.
Oh dear. Although it's worryingly easy to imagine him doing that.
Well, it was alright in the end. He was acquitted and we returned home to Japan together.
Thank goodness.
Oh yes, talking of Seishiro, I have a copy of the photograph we all took together here yesterday. Please.
Oh, nice. Yep, that's not a Hodo right there. Phoenix Wright's ancestor. Bro was the ancestor of Semite's Hulk.
Oh, what a lovely picture.
It certainly seems to shout, "We've arrived in Britain." Oh, and we have that as evidence? What the fuck? Oh, okay. We might end up using that in the trial. In the second part of the trial.
None of us had any idea what was coming when we took that, did we?
No, that's so true.
So, you mentioned a favor that you'd like to ask me.
Well, this fateful trial that you're fighting, one way or another, will be over before long. And what it is, I'd like you to accompany me back to Japan.
You want me to do...
What?
Father? What's the meaning of this?
Now, Susato, you should understand.
Oh, my tongue goes to that.
Now, Susato, you should understand. You've seen how our courts work firsthand. Japan's judicial system is in its infancy, especially when it comes to defense.
Oh, you mean...
The Supreme Court of Judicature is in desperate need of a good defense lawyer. As soon as possible, really quite urgently in fact.
But I've not even been in London for a year yet.
I read all of Susato's reports. I'm well aware of your extraordinary talents. And having seen you in action with my own eyes earlier today, there's no question. You, Naruhodo, are precisely the man our country needs.
So, you'd be leaving then, Bruno?
But then, what am I supposed to do, Father?
You came here to serve as Asoki's judicial assistant.
Oh, yes. She's supposed to be Cosmo's assistant.
Our government is still in the process of deciding how to best deal with this situation, though. You've already chosen your path, Susato. and I trust your judgment in this matter also.
Father?
Please, the pair of you, don't look so downcast. It's merely a suggestion, you understand? I hope, if I'm honest, but I won't force you. All I ask is that you consider it and come to a decision by the time this trial concludes.
Yes. Alright. Well, given the fact that there's going to be like one more case after this episode, one more case after this one, the answer is probably going to be no.
You won't leave, will you, Bruno?
Is Gramps the ancestor of Larry Butts? I have no idea. Oh yeah, and the one of the judges in this game actually has a name instead of being the judge. Yeah, Judge Jigoku, who is the hold on, where is it? Yeah, the judge here. Yes, I think this actually might be the ancestor of the judge in the modern Phoenix Wright games. In the mainstream Phoenix Wright games. Yeah, his name is why does bro look like a Cthulhu villain? Yeah, I don't know, yeah. Seishiro Jigoku. So it's, yeah, I think this might be the Ace Attorney judge's ancestor. Which is neat. The thought hadn't even crossed my mind. Bro would be disappointed in his descendant. I know, right? He would be so disappointed in how weak-willed that judge was. Especially when Franziska von Karma is just going around whipping him whenever she wants. And also, Manfred von Karma fucking gaslighting the hell out of him. Up until now, I've been trying to do what I believed in to be Kazuma's will. But it turns out that he's still alive, so where does that leave me?
Well, if you'll excuse me now.
Or letting Edgeworth change evidence a day before the trial? Oh yeah, oh yeah, that's gonna be nasty.
I need to telegram government ministers and the Japanese police with this information about Asashin.
Of course, Father. Thank you.
I look forward to next month's installment, Miss Wilson.
Oh, good. And please, do come to Baker Street sometime, won't you? We love to entertain you.
I would be delighted. The best of luck for tomorrow, Naruhodo. And give my suggestion your full consideration, won't you?
Yes, I will. Going back home? Why do I feel like Gramps is gonna die or something? I mean, you never know what's gonna happen. Like, the main detective for this game was actually... yeah, the main detective for the game, Tobias Gregson, he was around for a while until he got murdered in this case. I was like, oh shit, I was not expecting the main detective of the Greatest Attorney Chronicles game to be murdered. Because I thought he was just gonna live throughout the entire game. Like Gumshoe, for example, but no, he was murdered on, like, the second to last case of this game. Yeah. He was a lover of fish and chips, and he got murdered. Shot straight through the heart with a pistol. Funnily enough, it was through a standard issue police officer pistol, so yikes. The ops got my boy.
You know, Kazuma-sama has always meant a great deal to my father. I'm sure he'd love the chance to meet with him and talk to him about all of this.
Yes, no doubt.
Asashin. Of course, it's so obvious.
Oh, it's Sholmes, okay.
How could I have neglected to consider the possibility before now?
Mr. Sholmes?
Ellie, where have you been? Why, I joined you all for tea, of course. What an extraordinary question.
I didn't notice you at all.
Is that Sherlock Holmes? Nope, it's Herlock Sholmes. Yeah. In the original Japanese game, he's called Sherlock Holmes. But in this localization, they had to censor it because of copyright. They're allowed to call him Sherlock Holmes in the Japanese version, but in the English version, the localization team had to censor it because of copyright.
No matter. Anyway, to more pressing concerns, Mr. Naruhodo.
Oh, yes?
I must dispatch a telegram to your country at once. It is a matter of urgency.
To Japan, you mean?
Tell me, to whom can I entrust the task? Quickly now, who?
Well, my father has just now left to send a telegram to the Imperial Police Bureau of Japan himself.
I see. Well, he looked reliable enough for a bearded fellow.
I don't think what father sports could be considered a beard, Mr. Sholmes.
There's not a moment to lose. Kindly ask your trusty unshaven father to see this sent.
I will, but what is it?
No questions at this time, if you please, Mr. Sato. All we can do is pray that for once, my deduction is awry.
Doesn't that imply that your deductions are normally correct, Mr. Sholmes? Which isn't exactly...
Now then, you may be surprised to learn that I am a very busy man. I certainly have no time to hide behind settees and eavesdrop on other people's conversations.
So that's what joining us for tea meant?
I leave the sending of this in your hands then, my dear fellows.
No, wait a minute, Mr. Sholmes.
He just sort of ran off, didn't he? He just sort of ran off, didn't he? At quite a pace.
And left the unpaid bill for his tea behind too. My bro gonna be an asshole to her? Yeah. Sholmes is a very eccentric man in this game.
I must catch up with father at the telegraph office at once.
And I'll run and call us a cab. Straight away.
And there was me thinking everyone would be clamoring to pay Mr. Sholmes' bill. Yeah, there's something else to do here. Okay. So I guess we go to... I think, yeah, we go to... No, not that one. Let's check on Mr. Vigil. The music video. Yeah. Very Great Britain themed. 2nd of November, St. Sinners Hospital, Ward 3.
This is the ward where Mr. Vigil was brought, apparently.
Did they get the mofos who made the Monster Hunter OST in this game? That is a very good question. I don't know. Cause this is a Capcom game, but I don't know if they are working. I don't know if they have the same team, the same composing team working for this game. Yeah, it's hard to say, honestly. To be frank, I'm a little worried about seeing him again. Oh, there he is. It sounds really similar to World and some tracks from Sunbreak. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not too familiar with the latest Monster Hunter games. The only Monster Hunter game I played was Monster Hunter 3 on the 3DS. So like, I do know like a majority of how the classes work, or the weapons work. It's just, except for a few, like for example the Insect Blade, because that wasn't a thing in Monster Hunter 3. And yeah, I do have knowledge of some, or most monsters, or at least from the, yeah. Oh yeah, you missed a lot of new music. Yeah, I imagine they would have a lot of improvements to the game, especially when they, you know, opened the game up to the PC, which, to be honest, they should have done like ages ago, because the potential was already there with the multiplayer capability, the multiplayer entertainment it has, the value of multiplayer entertainment it has, because you can only... Yeah, because it was only restricted to the 3DS, and while yes, you can sort of get into online play, because you can, at the time, you can connect your 3DS to the internet, and just play with other people, for like various monster hunting missions. Yeah, they could have, yeah, they should have had the technology to just slap that shit into the PC, and, expanded the player base from there. But yeah. I don't know if I'm even going to, I don't even know if I'm even going to play the latest Monster Hunter games, because it's been a very long time. I did complete the Monster Hunter 3 game, or at least the base story for the game. I just never completed the New Game Plus, because it's super long. Funny enough, 60% of Capcom sales comes from PCs. Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't be too surprised about that, since they do have a lot of stuff that is playable on PC and that's super popular. Yeah, obviously with it, the Ace Attorney games being a factor in that one. Because, yeah, the Ace Attorney games used to be on the Nintendo DS and 3DS, and now they're starting to port all of that as, like, trilogy packs into Steam. So, yeah. Or in this case, for the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, it's 2 games, because there's 2 Great Ace Attorney Chronicles games. Well, there's 2 Great Ace Attorney games, not Chronicles games. Chronicles is just the name of the pack that I'm playing that contains both of the games in one application. Yeah, because yeah, this game used to be on the 3DS, and now it's been ported to PC, so it's great. Yeah.
Ah, the lawyer. Hello again. Are you feeling better now, Mr. Vigil? Yes, thank you. Somewhat better.
I'm so sorry to have caused you to... I mean, it was because of me. If I hadn't exposed your secret and forced you to remember things you'd obviously try to forget...
The prosecutor was here until a few moments ago too. You just missed him.
Oh, Kazuma beat us to it.
He said much the same to you. He was very apologetic. But the truth is, I brought all this upon myself.
Please, don't think like that.
Keeping it from Evie, my wife, all these years, I've carried a sense of guilt. But that's not the worst of it. Over time, I obviously came to deceive myself as well.
You mean about your dismissal?
Looking back now, I'm beginning to think that perhaps Inspector Gregson didn't stumble across me by accident at all. I mean, he compensated me so generously for acting as a stand-in. He was clearly concerned for my well-being and doing what he could to help.
So perhaps Gregson knew exactly what had become of Mr. Vigil all along then.
I'm sure this is just desserts for 10 years of lies and deception, but... It wasn't me that helped the professor escape 10 years ago. It wasn't me! I swear it! I swear it's true!
Oh, Mr. Vigil.
I'm sure you'd rather not dredge up even more from your past at this time, but if possible, could you tell us exactly what really happened?
I want to. I need to get all of this off my chest. I just want someone to tell me what I should have done. Inspector Gregson was obviously engaged in a special operation of some sort. He was investigating something that even Scotland Yard couldn't know about.
Details of the raper's marks, yes.
It was when he had to carry out those investigations that I would take his identification and impersonate him.
You pretend to be an inspector and carry out investigations on his behalf?
Oh no, never! A common street peddler couldn't possibly carry out a proper police investigation. All I would do is go to the specified location and make a little hoo-ha. Just something to leave an impression, so everyone there would think a detective called Gregson was here.
So that's what you were doing on the day prior to the incident?
Yes, he asked me to make an appearance at the park on Limestream for the Red-Headed League event. So as usual, I flashed the inspector's identification around and was very vocal about my presence.
But then you were taken prisoner by those red-headed fraudsters.
Yes,
So, you would always make a point of showing Gregson's identification and generally being loud?
that's what the inspector asked me to do, yes.
Well, that's one boy of becoming a legendary detective, I suppose. Not a good one, though.
And as you know, I suffered this bruising around my neck at their hands. But the following day, they kept their word and released me.
Without returning the inspector's identification to you, however.
We had arranged to meet in the Fresno Street room at 5 that day so I could report back to the inspector. But at the agreed time, that's when I heard the gunshot. It was midnight on the 17th of June 10 years ago. That was the time scheduled for the execution.
But the professor's execution was never actually took place. Never actually took place, did it?
Or rather, the execution itself must have been used to effect the plan of escape. I hardly dare to imagine what a chilling plan it was.
Barclay was renowned for being the highest security prison in the country. Everything that went in or out of the place was searched multiple times. But there was one notable exception. Or rather, one notable loophole. Something that was never questioned.
I have a feeling I know what that loophole was now. The coffins into which the bodies of the executed convicts were placed, correct?
Yes. Once the coroner had confirmed the death of a condemned convict, the body was taken in its coffin for immediate burial in Locust Cemetery just behind the prison. The chief warder first had to sign the necessary papers. And after that, no member of staff was permitted to touch the coffin containing the body again. When executions took place, only the executioner and the coroner were permitted inside the chamber. I would wait in the adjacent room for word that the condemned convict was dead. On that occasion, once I had the confirmation, I went into the mortuary to find the lone coffin as usual. The procedure was that I would sign the paperwork, having checked the coffin, then nail it shut. But for some reason that day, the coffin was already nailed shut.
No.
I didn't think anything of it at the time. I assumed that my deputy must have checked the coffin and nailed it shut before I arrived.
So, you mean the coffin contained...
Yes, I can only imagine that Asogi, having escaped his execution somehow, was alive inside the coffin. The coffin was then taken out through the main gates and deposited in Locust Cemetery.
Presumably there wouldn't have been enough air inside to breathe for long.
So in the early hours following the burial, somebody dug up the coffin again to set Genshin free.
But in the end, he was fatally shot in the graveyard anyway. What on earth really happened in Locust Cemetery that night, I wonder?
I'm afraid I really don't know. All I can say with certainty are two things. Asogi couldn't possibly have escaped that way without help from somebody working in the prison. And that somebody was not me.
Obviously you knew the man then? The professor, I mean. Genshin Asogi.
Yes, I remember him well, in fact.
Would you mind telling us what you know?
Well, having been condemned to death as he was, any contact I had with the man was short, obviously. After that trial, which was carried out behind closed doors, attended only by elite members of the judiciary, they called for his execution to be carried out at the earliest possible opportunity.
The outcome of the trial was set from the beginning, wasn't it?
It was a time of delicate diplomacy, when Britain and Japan were in the process of signing an important treaty. That meant that this potentially destabilizing case had to be dealt with swiftly and discreetly.
The man had less than a week in total. As I was the chief warder, I oversaw his short stay in the cells until his final hour. I remember being struck deeply by his noble character and incredible resilience.
What do you mean exactly?
He was a killer of many men, but he was always quiet and polite. He was a gentleman and a man of intellect. In fact, I couldn't bring myself to believe what he'd done, so I asked him one day. Those 5 members of the aristocracy whose lives were taken, were you really responsible?
I'm guilty of the unforgivable crimes of ending another human's life, yes.
The following day, the closed trial took place, and the verdict was no surprise.
Guilty.
That night, when he was brought back to his cell, I saw something unusual.
Something unusual? What?
The last will and testament of Genshin Asogi. As I said, it was on the night following his trial, after he'd been found guilty. I was doing rounds of the cells, and when I looked into Asogi's, I noticed that he seemed to have a sheet of paper in his hand.
Ah, his last will and testament then, presumably.
As soon as he noticed me, he hurriedly shoved it behind his back.
But why did you find that so unusual? Isn't it normal for a man to pen a will when he knows his death is nigh?
Yes, that's true, but there were special conditions to Asogi's incarceration, you see.
What sort of conditions?
Well, even though he was held in a cell designed for condemned inmates, he was allowed to keep his personal effects with him, with one exception.
Really? He was allowed his things? That is unusual, certainly.
Of course, he'd been convicted of killing 5 members of the aristocracy, but at the same time, he was a guest in our country from the Empire of Japan. The powers that be were determined that his final days shouldn't be needlessly uncomfortable.
And what was the exception you mentioned to the personal effects he was allowed?
That's the point. He wasn't permitted to have writing materials, specifically no pens or paper.
So, he was prevented from leaving any written record of what had happened to him.
Yes, that was the long and short of it. I have no idea where he obtained that paper. Any writing materials would have been confiscated from him upon his incarceration. As I said, he hid the paper behind his back, and then he pleaded with me. What did you just hide behind your back?
Please, turn a blind eye. This is my lifeline.
But you know it's against the rules.
You're the only person who's seen. If you just agree to keep quiet.
Alright then, but what's on that paper?
A last will and testament. This will is the only weapon I have left now.
How can a will be a weapon?
So I decided to pretend I'd seen nothing, and let him keep his will. But then later, it just seemed to vanish without a trace.
What? What do you mean it vanished?
It would seem that isn't the end of the story of this mysterious will.
was the only person who saw Asogi's will, but
somehow it disappeared.
it was after Asogi's execution.
Which is what was actually an elaborate jailbreak.
The warders gathered up Asogi's possessions that were in his cell. They were all about to be sent back to his family home in Japan, you see.
To poor Kazuma-sama.
And you're saying that it wasn't anywhere to be found among his personal effects? The will, I mean.
That's right, though I didn't search through them myself. But Governor Caden was livid. He was screaming, "It can I have disappeared completely?"
That doesn't quite make sense though, does it?
In what way?
Well, we'd understood that only Mr. Vigil was aware of the will's existence. In which case, how did the prison governor know to look for it?
Oh yes, you're right.
I really don't know how he knew, but it certainly seemed as though he knew of the will's existence from the outset. Only he didn't refer to it as a will. What he said was the Asogi Papers.
The Asogi Papers.
I really can't tell you anything of the subsequent events. Because, well, of what happened.
Your dismissal, and the way you blocked it all from your memory.
I've forgotten all this until today. I don't suppose it's relevant to the case, though.
Well, anyway, thank you very much for sharing it with us, Mr. Vigil. We're very grateful.
I'm afraid there's really little more I can tell you. My wife Evie will be here shortly, so I do hope you don't appear rude, but...
No, not at all. Thank you again.
But what will become of you now?
Well, impersonating a police officer is a criminal offense, of course. I imagine that once I am fully recovered, I shall be arrested.
I'm so sorry.
Don't be, please. This was all my doing. I always knew that this day would come.
Well, I wish you well. Goodbye, Mr. Vigil.
Ah! Before you go, there's just one thing!
Oh, yes? What is it?
The Asogi Papers. I'd be very grateful if you'd make no mention of the things I told you about them.
Presumably for some good reason?
It's my understanding that their very existence is a closely guarded secret. If it became known that I'd remembered...
Vigil remembered one thing and started hitting JoJo poses? Yeah, he really did. The Ace Attorney characters in this game are very eccentric indeed.
Well, it could be rather troublesome, I think.
I understand. Some sort of will that Genshin Asogi penned just before his death, which the man himself claimed was his last weapon. I wonder... Perhaps it has something to do with his plan to escape. If there's anyone who might know about a document that Cosmo's father left behind...
It would be Mr. Vigil's governor. Then we know precisely where we must go. Back to Barclay Prison.
Alright, to the prison. Oh wait, no, that's the wrong prison. Whoops! Second of November, Barclay Prison, Governor's Office.
Back again, are you?
Yes? Hello?
I've heard all about your investigations. I read the report just now. You found him, eh, Vigil?
Yes, luckily.
Well, anywho, the lady doesn't have work here no more, so your case is not to do with Barclay. I wouldn't like you to get the wrong idea about that.
Of course, yes. Mr. Vigil stopped working here 10 years ago now, so... He's mewing since the Dark Ages. Yes, his jawline.
Yes, we've seen his dismissal notice, haven't we? He was given the chop.
Alright, Kimmer, you can very well. So, how about a wee handcuff biscuit?
Oh, they really like little handcuffs. And as hard as irons, too.
So, what you doing here today?
Well, there's something else we'd like to ask you about, actually.
Is that so?
We believe there might have been a document that disappeared from Genshin Asogi's cell. I think it's been called the Asogi Papers or something?
Did I no say Gregson's death is not to do with things that might have happened at Bulkley? Leave the past in the past, lady. Let's not filter about with irrelevant details.
His expressions changed completely. We're clearly onto something here. Infinite biscuit. Yeah. It's like with Gregson's fish and chips. It's like a bottomless pit.
That murderous botched execution and the whole miserable escape. Never Bulkley's dark as ours, a shocking embarrassment.
Because the convict had a collaborator on the prison staff, you mean?
Aye, for shame. The coroner who confirmed the death of the man after his execution, Courtney Sith. And my chief warder at the time, Vigil, who was in charge of the whole affair.
But Mr. Vigil says he didn't know anything about it.
That rascal wouldn't say otherwise, More handcuffs?
Oh, how can I say no? You can never have too much iron in your diet.
When Mr. Vigil was handed his dismissal notice as a result of what had happened, he was so despairing he jumped out of your office window, didn't he?
I didn't like to say, but that's just Vigil trying to get hold of it. Do you know if he wouldn't jump from the shock of his crimes being exposed, I do.
So you wouldn't say otherwise, though, would you?
Of course, I can shun all responsibility myself. I should let him deceive me. Actually, there's barely anyone that kens what went on at the time now. With Gregson having been murdered and Dr. Sid forbidden from having any visitors.
No visitors? Someone obviously doesn't want her giving anything away.
Well, we're not going home empty-handed.
And I wouldn't dream of sending you a pack of wood now. But now, Kimmer, here, take a handcuff or two.
Oh, it would be rude to say no. Wouldn't want to become anemic.
I suppose if there's anybody who might still ken about what happened back then, it'd be the last from the forensic division, Maria Gorey.
Maria Gorey?
Oi, Sid's daughter. She didn't have no more, just a one. But the wee bairn's following in her mam's footsteps. You didn't ever see her without a scalpel in her hand.
Ah, yeah, the bitch who tried to dissect it. That tried to dissect me. Fuck, what was her voice again? Yeah, I didn't really voice her for long in that moment.
Mama, what is this?
Ah, where did she spring from? And did you just call the doctor Mama? Dr. Sid's daughter, Maria Gorey. We could do with talking to her. So, she's Dr. Sid's doctor, but her surname is Gorey?
Oi, there's some family history, I'm sure, but I didn't ken the ins and outs of it. She grew up watching her man with the bodies of folk who died in strange circumstances, and decided to do the same with her own life. I can understand it myself.
Perhaps she was driven by a deep respect for her mother.
Perhaps. Anywho, she was in charge of Gregson's autopsy, I believe.
Right. and the coroner responsible for this incomplete report.
Someone told me once that the wee lassie always loved her mam's stories about cutting up bodies. There's even a rumor that she used to listen to the funeral march as a lullaby.
Well, then perhaps her mother might have told her about the autopsy from the case 10 years ago.
Oi, I said there's a fighting chance at least. After all, that was a life-changing case for all of us.
We really need to speak to Mr. Goria herself about this, I think. Well, thank you very much.
I'm not happy about any part of this. It took years for Londoners to finally forget the whole professor business. Can you give up on this, laddie? Stop asking pointless questions.
I'm sorry. I don't like dredging up these painful memories for everyone.
Can you just stay away? No? Leave me alone and don't come back, alright?
So about the Isogi papers.
I just come to know about that, laddie. There's not many folk, even here in the prison, who have heard of those papers.
Ah, well, I can't tell Mr. Vigil told me.
I'm afraid our sources must remain confidential, sir.
Huh.
We've been led to believe the papers are actually a last will or testament. Is that right? The professor's, or rather, Genshin Isogi's.
Oi, that's right. You're well informed, Jimmy.
Oh, is that the end of the silent treatment? But then after the convict's execution, it mysteriously vanished from his cell, didn't it?
Heavens no. You're off the half-cock there. I think you didn't quite get your facts straight. It was there in the cell, exactly where it should have been.
Oh. Not what I've heard elsewhere.
Let me just have a wee look around in here. I'm sure I can find it. Oi, here you are. See?
The last will and testament of Genshin Isogi, written with a calligraphy brush.
Of course, I can't read a word of those Japanese squiggles. But I mind it says he leaves all his worldly possessions to his son back in the homeland.
Yes, that's correct. That's the gist of it.
So these are the Isogi papers.
Why, of course they are. Papers written by Soji, no doubt about it. There's no mystery here, laddie. That's a lot. After all the stramash of that slicer of an execution, we sent the man's possessions back to his clan in Japan, and that was the end of it.
I think we ought to make a record of this, Mr. Naruhodo, just in case.
One thing before you go away, Mr. Naruhodo.
Oh, yes?
Those papers are not to do with Gregson's death. I prefer it if you didn't make no mention of them outside this office. Or rather, I wouldn't just prefer it, considering an order from the highest levels of our government.
I understand. So, let's take a look at this. I hereby, Genshin Isogi hereby requests that upon my death any and all material possessions and wealth belonging to me in London be delivered to my son Cosmo Isogi in the Empire of Japan. With deep sadness I accept my fate in this foreign land in the knowledge that I will never see my homeland or family again, but I regret nothing. I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. Alright. I think we just move to the no, not this one, not that one, no. We don't know where she is. Okay, I don't think we need to present anything to him. Yeah, okay, so I guess because we don't have anything to talk about after that. No. Okay, so where do we go then? I guess we go here, maybe? Is there anything new here? Oh yeah, there is. 2nd of November. British Supreme Court. Lord Chief Justice's office. No arguments, Prosecutor Asogi. You will continue with the trial exactly as I instructed. Is that clear?
Perfectly.
It's Kazuma-sama.
Defying Lord Strongheart by the sound of it. He never did know when to back down. On your way now, Asogi.
My lord.
Kazuma. He left without saying a word. Yes? What are you doing here? Oh, well, I was just hoping to ask you a few questions, if you wouldn't mind. I wanted Von Zeke's trial concluded today. But Prosecutor Asogi's unwelcome inquiries are going to make it take longer than necessary. Unwelcome inquiries? As a result, I'm losing even more precious time. Currently 2 hours, 55 minutes, and 41 seconds. 42, 43...
Then we must resolve everything before 3 hours have passed, Mr. Naruhodo.
And a miraculous not even 5 minutes? Anyway, I can't let the man's obvious bad mood put me off. I need information. Does Prosecutor Asogi believe that Lord Von Zeeks is the Reaper? I wouldn't know. It was 10 years ago, in that fateful closed trial, that Lord Von Zeeks made a name for himself among the judiciary. But the next trial he fought, he lost. It meant the ringleader of a criminal organization was acquitted, thanks to the jurors being under duress. But that's awful. Salutations, Night King. Knife King, not Night King. The man's freedom was short-lived. He lasted just 3 days.
Yes, let me see. He died in a rock slide at his place of work, I believe.
Correct. That was the inauguration of the Reaper of the Bailey. This is the second game of the Great Ace Attorney. And we are on the we're on the second to last case, presumably, assuming there's no extra DLC 6 case like in the other Ace Attorney games. Is it? This is the fourth case. This is the fourth case out of the 5 in the second game. Yes. And the people believe Lord Von Zeeks was responsible. He was brought to trial himself. Yeah, there's only one more. Okay, it is just the one more. There is no super secret 6 case like in the original Phoenix Wright games. He was brought to trial himself, but it was shown to have been an accident. So he must have had a solid alibi then. Nevertheless, the mysterious deaths continued. In total, 16 persons perished in unusual circumstances, ostensibly at the hand of the Reaper. That's a long run of coincidences.
Well, the Reaper's true identity may well be revealed by this trial.
And the impact that revelation would have on the British public cannot be understated. Is that why it's a closed trial? Precisely. This country hasn't seen a closed trial for 10 years.
So the last one was the professors, the trial of Genshin Isoki.
Correct.
Actually, we heard of that originally. You were going to prosecute that trial yourself, Lord Strongheart.
Von Zieks entreated me to relinquish the prosecution to him, that he might avenge his brother's death. And here we are, 10 years later. With the son of the man Von Zieks had condemned, now looking to avenge his father's death in the same way.
They do say that what goes around comes around.
However, it would seem that the new young prosecutor is harboring some ulterior motive as well.
Kazuma is?
I like my organization to run smoothly in the exact manner that I prescribe. As with the giant clock in here, I won't tolerate a single cog being out of step with the others.
Ah, so that's what all these gears are about in here.
If the young man refuses to mesh with the other parts of my great machine, I will be forced to take steps.
What? What do you mean?
Not something with which you need concern yourself. In any case, all your questions will be answered tomorrow. Now, I shall have to ask you to excuse me. As of this moment, I've been delayed from attending my next meeting by precisely 3 hours.
Oh my, that's a long time.
And I hold you entirely responsible.
Even though we miraculously managed to fit everything into not even 5 minutes? I wonder if you might agree to us, talking with Prosecutor Isogi?
Discussions between the defense and the prosecution outside the courtroom are generally frowned upon. However, I will make an exception in this case. Now go! You can find him in his office.
Oh, thank you.
Let's go see him at once, Mr. Naruhodo.
So wait, why did he allow that exception then? Maybe it's just to see if we could change his mind or something. Kazuma's my best friend in the world, but I'm really not at all sure I know how to talk to him at the moment.
Second of November, Prosecutor's Office.
So this is the office of Prosecutor Isogi now, is it?
Kazuma-sama is doing so well for himself.
Even though he's always forced to kneel on the floor Japanese style in that dark corner.
It's his habit to sit Seiza-style whenever he's working.
Kazuma.
I thought it wouldn't be long before you paid me a visit, Ryunosuke. I was right about what I said, wasn't I?
Sorry?
That you have all the makings of a great defense lawyer.
Well, I always believed that you'd fulfilled your dream of advocating in British courts. I just never imagined for 1 second that it would be as a prosecutor.
Seeing you stand in a foreign courtroom, so gallantly realizing your dream, Kazuma-sama, I'm truly happy for you.
And I am truly thankful to you, Judicial Assistant Mikotoba. Ryunosuke, I always thought it would be fun for you and I to shake up the British legal system a little together. This isn't quite how I envisaged it, but I suppose it's just another twist of fate.
I've learned a lot of things during my time in London. About how Susato-san's father was himself a visiting student here once, along with Judge Jigoku. And about what happened with your father.
Then you'll have no difficulty understanding.
why I had no choice, why I had to find a way to get to Britain as a visiting student myself.
I want to hear it from you, Kazuma.
As you wish, Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
It's getting on for a year now, since what happened on the SS Budia. We were heading across the oceans from Japan to Great Britain, when a bizarre of serious coincidences led to those tragic events. I thought I lost my best friend forever.
I must have been unconscious for a long time. When I awoke, I was lying on a bed. It was a narrow little room. There was a posse of flowers by the pillow. It took me a little while to realize that I was in the cabin of a ship. I slipped out of the room and headed up onto the deck.
Were you already suffering from amnesia at that point?
Yes, I didn't know what had happened or where I was. There was just this voice in my head. There's something you have to do, something no one else can know about. Go to Great Britain. Your task awaits you there.
That was Sholmes, I believe.
It was a calling I couldn't ignore. It compelled me relentlessly. Out on the deck, I saw that I was on a huge steamship and we were docked in a large port.
It must have been Hong Kong.
Yes, it must have been.
No, sorry. Yes, it must have been. Presumably just before they were due to carry your body off the ship.
I had no idea of the situation, but I did have a feeling that this was in some way my last chance. So I concealed myself among the disembarking passengers and went ashore. Then I disappeared into the crowded streets of that foreign port city, so I could plan my onward journey to Great Britain. Just under a year ago, with all my past memories lost to me, I was left behind in Hong Kong. Everything was foreign to me. The sights, the sounds, the smells. My head reeled. I was truly at a loss. I realize now that I escaped as a dead man, with nothing but the clothes on my back. No money, of course.
Oh, how terrifying for you.
Luckily though, I had two feathers in my cap.
One being your knowledge of English, I suppose.
That's right, and on the back of that, I was able to pick up some work as a deckhand on a cargo ship.
Someone diddled bro's mind. Funnily enough, it was because of a was it like a 17-year-old Russian girl? It was like a Russian. It was like, I think it was like around a 17. It was like, I think a Russian girl around the age of 17 who was like a runaway ballerina from Russia. She was trying to escape Russia, and yeah, and she briefly encountered Kazuma, and she thought Kazuma was gonna snitch on her, and out of panic, she shoved him hard in the back that he fell, and I think he hit his head on like a bed frame post, and he got knocked out. But she thought he was dead because the detective who was investigating the ship basically said, oh yeah, he's dead, and basically threw everyone into a deceptive loop into thinking that he was actually dead. He died from basically snapping his neck off the bed frame when he was pushed on top of it, but he wasn't. He was just knocked out.
Eventually, after calling at countless ports, I finally arrived at Dover. That must have been some 3 months ago now.
It's always the Russians. Your formidable tenacity of purpose showing itself again. I mean, the man had lost his memory and had literally nothing to his name, but he still managed to make his way to London on the opposite side of the world.
Of course, I had no idea why I'd moved to heaven and earth to get here at that point.
So, how did you end up becoming Lord Von Zieg's apprentice then?
That can only be called an extraordinary stroke of luck, really. You see, I was stopped at the border because I had no papers. They took me straight to Scotland Yard. And by sheer coincidence, Lord Strongheart was there to attend a meeting. That's when the second feather on my cap came into play.
it would have been your knowledge. Would that have been your knowledge of law? The law?
Yes, exactly. Lord Strongheart was curious about an Easterner with an intimate knowledge of British law. He took me back with him to the Supreme Court and assigned me to the prosecutor's office.
And then, 9 days ago, you finally got your memory back after the trial involving Drebber.
Yes, I did.
Ever since I first met you at Yume, you talked about your dream.
Mark my words, Ryunosuke. I'll be chosen as a visiting student and make my way to Great Britain someday.
Did you know the entire time about what happened to your father here?
16 years ago. When my father left on that exciting trip to Great Britain, I was just a boy. We took a photograph together the day before his departure. It's my last memory of him. But what I remember most about my father is his unwavering sense of justice. 6 years after he left, a gentleman called at our family home. He told me that Genjin, my father, had been taken ill in England and passed away. It was Professor Mikotoba, your father, Susato-san.
Oh my.
Ever since then, the professor was very good to me. He even helped to fund my university education at Yume. I'll be forever in his debt. But nevertheless, I just couldn't bring myself to believe what he just told me.
Oh.
Then one day, a letter arrived at our house from Britain. There was no indication of the sender, so I opened it assuming it was from an old acquaintance of my father. What I read in that letter changed my entire life.
What did it say?
It said that my father had been a mass murderer, and the writer cursed the Asogi name.
Oh no.
As a result of that letter, I found out what had been hidden from me all those years. Presumably, the letter was sent from a relative of one of the victims. If whoever it was had been a member of the judiciary, he would have been present at the closed trial. The letter revealed that my father had been sentenced to death, executed for being a killer.
I'm so sorry you had to find that out that way.
I imagine British government did its very best to silence whoever sent that letter. But someone who knew the truth and couldn't bear the resentment was always going to be a problem.
But still, it couldn't have been written by anyone. Why would you believe such a thing?
There was a newspaper cutting included with the letter. It was the first I'd ever heard of the professor and his terrible killing spree.
Well, what did my father have to say about the letter?
I couldn't bring myself to show it to him.
What? Why not?
Because he deliberately concealed the truth from me by telling me my father was taken by a fatal illness. That couldn't have been easy for him, and he'd done it out of consideration for my feelings. So instead, I showed the letter to Judge Jigoku.
Ah, to the other visiting student.
He faltered for the briefest of moments, but then he just laughed the letter off. But in that moment, I saw it on his face. He was undeniably shocked, shaken momentarily, before recovering his poise. A year later, my bereaved mother succumbed to the strain of grief. She too passed away. That's when I made up my mind that one day, without fail, I would cross the seas to Britain and seek the truth for myself. The truth about my father, Genjin Asogi. And I wouldn't let anyone stand in my way.
Oh, Kazuma-sama.
What we learned today in court turned things completely on their head. It was an impressive piece of lawyering, Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
Lord Von Zeus isn't the Reaper, you know. I almost don't want to believe it myself. but it turns out that Inspector Gregson himself, the victim, was...
It's clear that the inspector was behind the Reaper's activity all along.
What? You mean you knew?
The real question is, who's been giving orders to the inspector? Yes, Barak von Zieks is the real Reaper. And I know that 10 years ago, it was him who decided my father must be a mass murderer and sent him to his grave.
No, he was merely seeing that justice was done as the law dictates. He's not to blame.
Ultimately, it's people who condemn people. The law is just a tool they use to do it. And when a man condemns another, he must take responsibility for his actions. Of course he must. But I know for certain that my father would never have taken another man's life.
Kazuma.
On the contrary, my father's life was taken by the Reaper.
Damn. Let's show him. Oh, wait. Ah, I hit the wrong button. Ah. Kazuma, what do you make of this?
There's only one place where defense lawyers and prosecutors should discuss evidence, the courtroom. So it seems you're still confused by the situation. That's what I make of it.
I get the feeling my friend's going to have the edge over me, isn't he? Wait, what was it trying to point it to? Oh, the autopsy report. This came up in the trial, didn't it? As something a little dubious, I mean. The fact that no time of death was recorded on Inspector Gregson's autopsy report.
Yes, there were some unexpected turns in the courtroom earlier. The suggestion you came up with certainly took everyone by surprise. The idea that the victim died in the previous day at some other location is quite something.
Well, considering what the pocket watch had stopped, and the scorch marks on the candle, it's certainly a distinct possibility. The evidence and the scene both point to it.
To be honest, it bothered me too, so I paid a visit to the autopsy room earlier. The coroner responsible wasn't there, but I got a name. It's Dr. Corey.
If it wouldn't trouble you, Kazuma-sama, we'd very much like to speak with the coroner too.
Of course, the last thing I want is for anything to be brushed under the carpet. Scotland Yard's autopsy laboratory is behind Lowgate Cemetery.
Lowgate Cemetery? By Barclay Prison, you mean?
Ah, you know it, do you? The prison where my father was incarcerated and robbed of his life.
Kazuma-sama.
Well, thank you. We'll pay a visit to the laboratory later today.
Ryunosuke, I want to thank you.
What for?
For this. You safeguarded the soul of the Asogi clan.
Well, it is a famous sword that's been in your family for generations. My only slight regret is that I never got a chance to draw it before I returned it to you.
Karuma is said to have been forged by a master swordsman during the Sengoku Warring States period. I come from a long lineage of warriors, many of whom were expert swordsmen.
Well then, you're a chip off the old block, I'd say.
This blade, Karuma, is the symbol of the Asogi clan's honor and might. Apparently, one of my father's apprentices even took the blade's name for a surname.
Really? Karuma? It does sound formidable, that's for sure.
16 years ago, when my father was a visiting student here in London, he had this sword forever at his side. Which is why it means so much to me that I have it by my side again now too. And that is all thanks to you.
It was an honor.
Now, I have preparations to make for tomorrow. Perhaps I said a little too much.
Kazuma, you've changed.
No, Ryunosuke, I haven't changed at all. It's you who's changed.
I can completely understand your resentment of Lord Von Zeeks given what has happened, but the fact is, those events in this case are, well...
Unrelated? Is that what you want to say? How can you be so sure?
What do you mean?
Never mind. That man is the Reaper, and it's for that reason that the inspector was killed. I'm going to prove as much in court tomorrow, by whatever means necessary.
I can't let you do that, Kazuma.
I know you'll do what you'll have to do as a lawyer, but I'm sure I don't need to tell you that I won't be taking any prisoners in the courtroom.
I would expect nothing less.
Until tomorrow then, in the Old Bailey.
Yep, that's the hype for the second part of the trial.
2nd of November, Forensic Laboratory.
This place really is creepy, isn't it?
Well, being a dead room, it's probably full of spirits of the dissected.
But actually, there's a rather pleasing scent of roses in the air.
Well, being a dead room, the coroner probably needs a bold scent like that to mask the odor of death.
Iris, do you think we could change the subject? Oh. What was that? Someone sharpening their knives? Dr. Gory? Oh shit.
What?
That noise before. What?
I was sharpening my tools. I'd be dead meat if I didn't keep a perfectly clean edge on them.
Right.
When following the collagen fibers in the dermis, an expertly sharpened scalpel cuts like cheese. Would you like a demonstration? Oh, yes please, I'd love to see. Then, I think you'll do nicely.
No, I wouldn't do nicely at all. I mean, maybe some other time. Is that a tut? Well, we came here to ask questions, so... We have actually met before. I'm a lawyer, if you remember.
You're not dead yet.
What?
So Mama said I wasn't to cut you open. She's so strict about things like that.
Well, good. Dr. Sith has some scruples, at least.
Oh dear. It looks like she's not interested in talking to us. For the time being, anyway.
For the time being? You mean until we die? I hope that's a way off. Sorry, but I wasn't planning on dying anytime soon. Surely there's some less drastic way of making her listen. Probably something we use in evidence. I guess we just bring up the autopsy report? Dr. Gory, we actually came here to ask you about this.
He was very good.
Good? Sorry?
His skin didn't snag my blade once, and very little mess. His joints dislocated easily, and his muscle tissue was a pleasure to work with.
We can skip those details. But there was one thing about the report that's caught my attention. You don't seem to have recorded the time of death.
That's not my fault.
Oh, that made me jump.
Then please, tell us what happened.
So, why doesn't this autopsy report include the victim's time of death then? It's really the most crucial detail.
I was told not to write it.
What? By whom?
Mel Strongheart, the Lord Chief Justice. He came here.
Lord Strongheart came?
He said that from the witnesses' statements about the gunshots and the other evidence, it was obvious. The man clearly died at 5 p.m. on the 1st of November when the gunshot was heard.
But that's not the time of death you wrote on the report. You didn't write anything. Was there some reason you didn't include it?
Dr. Glory, if you're hiding something under Lord Strongheart's instructions, then sooner or later, you're going to go the same way as your mother.
Give it here then.
Oh, she's gonna write on it? Why's she scribbling so furiously?
There.
You've written...
What? What's she written?
Tell us.
Indeterminate.
But
That's it? The timing of the... Oh. Wait, so she couldn't figure... She couldn't figure out the time of death? What do you mean by that? Why was the time of death indeterminate?
when the specimen was brought in, it was still fresh. So the time of death could have easily coincided with when the gunshot was heard. But there was one small discrepancy.
What discrepancy?
There was some fried fish in the pocket of the specimen's overcoat. And that fish had started to rot.
What?
If the victim liked fried fish, he presumably liked to eat it before it went off.
Well, yes. What are you really trying to say?
It's possible that someone tried to manipulate the apparent time of death.
Manipulate the... Is that even possible to do?
Theoretically, if you were to chill the body in ice, you could delay the onset of putrefaction. And the overcoat wasn't on the body at the time.
Then only the fish would have started to rot.
With today's science, it's not yet possible to determine if the body was chilled or not.
But today's science is advanced enough to let you freeze a corpse, it seems.
But surely, to chill a corpse like that would require an enormous electrical refrigerator, and I don't imagine many households in London are equipped with such a device.
No, definitely not. But maybe in a factory? Or in some other special places?
I don't really recall seeing any factories or such like on Fresno Street, though. I wonder, if the inspector's body had been chilled somehow, what might the actual time of death have been?
I couldn't say for sure. But at the most, it might have been a day earlier.
No.
In other words, it will corroborate your previous deduction, Mr. Naruhodo. And Inspector Gregson was killed the day before his body was discovered, at a different location.
Did you inform Lord Strongheart of this possibility?
He simply said there was no electrical refrigerators of that size in the vicinity.
Oh yes, one other thing. It's something the governor of Barclay Prison told us. He said that your mother, Dr. Sith, was responsible for confirming the death of the professor after his execution.
The professor?
Apparently you always enjoyed listening to your mother's stories about her work, so we were wondering if you might know something about what happened 10 years ago.
That's not all Mama did.
Sorry?
My mama carried out the autopsy of Clint Von Zieks as well.
What? Really? The brother of Lord Von Zieks, the professor's final victim.
The idea of carrying out an autopsy on a member of the aristocracy was completely unthinkable back then. But the detective in charge of the investigation insisted, and it was miraculously authorized.
That detective being Inspector Gregson, of course.
What an accomplishment for one man.
That autopsy provided the vital clue needed to arrest the killer. And my mom was there for that historic event.
What does all of this mean?
You know, that amazing autopsy happened right here in this very room. The professor and Clint Von Zieks. They both spent their final moments before their burial on that dissection table there. So this lab, Mama's lab was instrumental in some of the country's most important events.
She really is proud of her mother. I wonder if you tell us more about exactly what happened back then, Dr. Gory.
The professor's execution was Mama's first big case. She had to be in attendance at Barclay Prison's execution chamber and sign the certificate to confirm the convict's death. Mama is the best coroner in the world, you know. I was so proud of her.
But the execution didn't actually take place.
No, and worse still, Mama actually helped with the jailbreak. I didn't want to know.
Oh dear. You found out recently, you mean?
I believed in her and Mama, but now I wonder if I'm starting down the same path as her.
You mean, because you omitted the time of death on this autopsy report. But that's because Lord Strongheart forbade you from including it.
Just like Mama, I'm sure she was coerced by somebody too.
Yes, that's my feeling as well.
There's no doubt that there were powerful forces at play 10 years ago. The execution couldn't have been staged without a lot of people at the prison knowing about it. Obviously, the prison governor must have been in on it as well. The big man with the little handcuffs, according to what he told us. He was tricked by the chief warder. He says he knew nothing about it. Of course he said that. I'd say the same thing.
Just who was behind that jailbreak all those years ago? You mentioned the autopsy of Clint von Zeeks.
It was at a time when carrying out autopsies of murder victims was very unusual.
It's still not a practice that's observed in our country, even now.
It turned out that he was the professor's final victim, and when the autopsy was performed, Mama was present, although only as a secondary assistant. The person leading the procedure was called Dr. John H. Wilson. That's right, my daddy. And there was one other person present, the primary assistant. He was a visiting student from the Far East.
Wait, a visiting student?
It must have been my father, Eugene Mikotoba.
I had no idea Professor Mikotoba had been involved in something so important.
But the outcome of that historic autopsy was the discovery of a vital piece of evidence that led to the capture of the professor.
So that's how they came to identify Genshin Asogi as the infamous mass murderer. Do you happen to know anything about that piece of evidence? Can you tell us any more?
Would you like to see the records for yourself?
What? Would that be alright?
What's the point of keeping records if people can't look at them? They're filed under V at the back of those cupboards, with the other records from the last decade.
Thank you. Let's see. Von Zeeks. That's strange.
What, Mr. Naruhodo?
They aren't here. There's nothing on the Von Zeeks.
There must be!
Perhaps somebody took them away?
No one's allowed to take documents related to the professor case out of this room. But you're right, they're gone!
Well, when was the last time somebody looked at them? Do you remember?
It was... Oh yes, I remember now. It was 2 years ago. A consulting detective came one day, saying that he'd like to see the records.
No, you don't mean...
Herlock Sholmes was his name.
Deep down, I knew that was coming.
Do you think he stole the records?
Oh no, surely not. Iris, that can't be right, can it? Can it?
Iris?
You know, I hope you don't mind, but
What is it, Iris?
I just just remembered something very important I have to do. I'm going to have to leave you now. Oh, this is very sudden, Iris. Well, we'll come with you then. Oh no, there's no need. You and Rudo can take your time here. Bye for now then. Good luck. Wait a minute, little girl. Me? I remember now. You've been here before, haven't you?
Have you, Iris?
Yes, 2 years ago, when that detective came. You were with him, weren't you? You were a living specimen then, too.
That's the way it usually works. Yes.
Was I really don't remember. Anyway, sorry, but I must dash.
Wait, Iris.
I'll be reported when you get home.
What's the matter with her? She's behaving really strangely all of a sudden. Well, in that case, we won't keep you any longer either.
It's been quite a while since I had any visitors. This was really fun. But next time you come, I prefer if you were really for I preferred if you were ready for dissection.
I can't make any promises, sorry. It's a bit strange that the records of Clint Von Zieg's autopsy have disappeared. But I think we've asked all we came to ask now. Yes, Dr. Gordy. Dr. Maria Gordy. I guess we go to the Shelby Suite? Is there anything here? No? Okay. I guess we go talk to the governor again? Maybe? No? Okay, prison? No. Okay, Fresno Street room? Oh, yep. 2nd of November. Room on Fresno Street. The police are still busily investigating in here then.
But Gina's nowhere to be seen. Where is she?
Yes, it has been blissfully quiet, hasn't it? Perhaps she's out investigating on her own, practicing what her boss taught her.
Well, I expect she'll be back before too long. Shall we wait?
Actually, there's something different about this room since the last time we were here, isn't there?
We could always use the time to investigate more thoroughly.
Yeah, like what's this little box doing here? This little trunk wasn't here before, was it?
Oh, it appears to be made of metal. It must be very heavy. I wonder to whom it belongs.
There are some
initials on the outside. Look, TG.
Let's ask one of the policemen if they know how it came to be here.
Oi! What do you think you're doing?
Is that Gina? That's Gina, yeah.
That's my trunk, that is. Hands off. Gina.
What were you hiding? Where were you hiding?
I don't know.
You leave me something unattended for a few seconds and every Tom, Dick and Harry's got its greedy eyes on it. Just a wild guess, Gina, but... What? Spit it out, Dodo. Is it fair to say that you only owned that trunk since this morning's trial?
What? What are you trying to say? Come on, this trunk goes with me everywhere. Always has. Where have you been the last year?
Try not to incur your wrath, mainly. You should hear them talking at the yard now. They'll be ashamed of themselves. They're saying that it was the boss who killed all them bludgers. Ah, you mean the whole Reaper thing?
Yeah.
Apparently, the boss was investigating stuff that no one else at the yard knew nothing about. Stuff to do with all them criminals who were caught off scot-free. Yes. The ones prosecuted by Lord Von Zieks who used bribery and corruption to evade conviction.
Well, then obviously, it was that bloomin' Reaper giving the orders, wasn't it?
But why would people be suspecting Inspector Gregson of being involved in the killings?
There was a notebook hidden in his office.
Oh no. This doesn't sound good.
It had details about all the crimes that have been pegged as the Reaper's work.
What?
No. Did you see it, Gina? Did you see that notebook? They wouldn't flamin' let me, because I'm just an apprentice apparently.
Be right back. Okay, I'm back. Oops. Alright, I'm back. Alright. Okay. Is everything good for this? Oh yeah, okay, we're fine. Whew. They won't flame and let me, because I'm barely just an apprentice apparently. But it was me who found it, and it was my boss. That's right. I was pretty miffed about it, so I sneaked a peek at what it said anyway. Oh. That's her, Gina. So, you managed to see what was written in Gregson's secret notebook anyway, did you? Well, yeah, I see it. It's my right to read what he wrote.
And what had he written, Gina?
Dates, times, place, names, and a long list of them. All details about the bludgeons who was supposed to have been done in by the Reaper.
But there could be an explanation for that. Perhaps it was a record of the inspector's investigations into the Reaper's activities.
Exactly! That's what I said! That's the first thing you'd think, right? As it happens, it was full of names I recognized anyway. Well, the Reaper's targets were almost exclusively known leaders of London's criminal underworld. Well, yeah, but there was one name right at the end of that was a bit odd. At the end of the list, you mean? I'm pretty sure the date was against it was 31st of October.
Oh, the day before the inspector was found dead.
So, what was the odd name? It wasn't like a name I've ever seen before. It was something like, nah, it's no good. I can't remember it. I don't think it was an English name, put it that way.
Oh dear. What a pity.
There was something else too. I don't know if it matters, but the same name kept coming up over and over. Sheen, it was. I don't suppose it means anything, but... Oh, I saw Sheen. Did you just say Sheen? Eh? What? It does mean something? Lord Von Zieks knew the name too. He mentioned her as well. The woman who actually did the deeds. And now we find her name appeared in Gregson's secret notebook. We haven't seen you for a while, have we, Gina? Well, of course not. I've been busy, ain't I? Investigating that. I landed at the yard trying to trace the boss's movements the day before it happened. The day before? That would be the undercover investigation into the Red-Headed League then. Only the boss didn't go, did he? You found some cove what was pretending to be him, didn't you, Aldo? Yes, it was Mr. Vigil who actually went to the park on Lime Street that day, posing as Gregson. Well anyway, you ain't the only one turning out stuff up. I've got me ways of getting results. Hey, when me and my partner here get together, there's nothing we can't track down.
Oh, little Toby. He's such a faithful friend.
So, have you tracked anything down then? What you think, eh? Of course we have. Can't tell you though. Police business in it. Anyway, the point is, if you ever need any help, you know who to turn to, right? Me and the Hellhound here. Right. Because he looks so hellish, honest. Gina, about your Hellhound there. Chief Inspector Toby, you mean? He's the pride of the force, he is.
In Japanese, police dog means something quite different, and not altogether nice to those involved in crime. But here in Britain, it's a wonderful compliment it seems, for a canine at least.
It should be. After all, in the Great Exhibition case the other day, it was Toby here who managed to locate Drebber's workshop. Maybe it's time for another demonstration of what this super dog can do, eh? Do we have something the Chief Inspector could catch the scent of? I wonder. Do we have anything? We know this is Gregson. Oh! We can check to see whose gun this is. Well, Chief Inspector Toby, if you wouldn't mind having a sniff of this. The Chief Inspector said Walter that, although... Yes, I heard. I think perhaps that particular item didn't excite him very much. Ain't you got nothing else? I'll have a think. Not sure what... About your alien there, yeah. Or trying to trace Gregson's movements. I'm not sure what to put it. Okay, hit storm, yeah. What can we track him with then? Oh, the wig. Well, Chief Inspector Toby, if you wouldn't mind having a sniff of this. He might be a little too keen, don't you think? Ah! The Chief Inspector made short work of Gina there. Ah! Look what he's gone to.
Oh my, that trunk clearly has a very strong scent of Inspector Gregson.
In other words, it must have belonged to him. Alright, it's a fair cop, I suppose. And you know you got away with it too.
So you always talk so proudly of Chief Inspector Toby's nose and what he can achieve. Did it not cross your mind that he might identify something that was right next to us?
Yeah, that was a bit of a bloomer, wasn't it? That's enough now then, Gina.
Eh?
I think it's time you told us the truth about that trunk.
It won't like that. It just won't.
What are you talking about? I know what's going on through that head of yours, but it ain't what happened. Alright then, what did happen?
Well, like I said before, we were trying to trace the boss's movements. So that Toby have a whiff of the boss's overcoat. As soon as I done that, it went off like a shot. Straight to that sandwich.
To a sandwich? Not a bag of chips?
Mr. Naruhodo, I believe Gina means the witness.
Oh, I forgot about that sandwich.
Yeah, and yeah, they did it between them wooden boards of his. The boss's trunk.
Oh, he was hiding evidence. You mean when they heard the sound like a gunshot and all piled in here?
Exactly. He nabbed it from the scene.
Oh.
Goodness.
Me and the Chief Inspector gave that sandwich a good grilling. And you know what he said?
I thought it might fetch a good price, and the chap wouldn't be needing it anymore, so... But that's all I did. Nothing more, nothing less.
And you wouldn't have them believe a chink of it, eh? Stealing the dead boss's stuff to flog. So Miss Venus wasn't the only one to meddle with the scene of the crime then.
How could they?
So anyway, that's how it happened. And it's a pretty decent trunk, so I figured I might as well make a use of it. Is there something wrong with that, eh? Well, maybe you and Mr. Sandwich should try to find the answer to that question together.
I think perhaps that trunk should be turned over to the police, don't you?
What are you on about? I am the police! Gina, if you wouldn't mind, could we maybe examine it?
Yeah, alright then. Do what you want with it. Thank you. We shall make a detailed record of our examination of the evidence.
Alright. Oh. What's the matter with Toby? Why is he acting so aggressively towards me all of a sudden?
Mr. Naruhodo, be careful! It must be the trunk!
Ah! Ah! Toby, oi! What are you doing? You're gonna lick his face off!
Mr. Naruhodo! Mr. Naruhodo! Gina, quickly! Hail a carriage!
Second of November, 4:57 p.m. Naruhodo's Legal Consultancy. Oh man, he got knocked out by a dog.
Oh, Mr. Naruhodo, are you alright?
Mr. Sato?
Conscious at last! A blessed relief, my dear fellow. After all, to drop dead after a moderate licking by a small terrier, most unseemly. What is or isn't seemly is irrelevant here, Mr. Sholmes. I'm glad there's no lasting damage. How are you feeling?
I'm fine, thank you. Did you bring me back here?
Ah, what's this on my head? A bandage? Sadly, we had no ice, so that's a compress of sugar water.
Sugar water?
Don't worry, Mr. Naruhodo. It's a first aid treatment that my father taught me.
Oh, thank you.
So, let us take tea when you're feeling up to it. But of course, no sugar in the patient's cup.
Ugh, the bump on my head is throbbing sweetly enough, don't worry.
Whenever you feel ready, then. Are you alright, Mr. Naruhodo? It's rather unusual to find ourselves here in the middle of our investigations.
It's just occurred to me that I might have forgotten something when we left this morning.
Please don't worry. As long as you continue to investigate thoroughly, you won't go far wrong.
Oh, yes, of course. I must get back to work as soon as possible. Alright, let's talk to Sholmes here. Thank you for your concern, Mr. Sholmes.
My dear fellow, think nothing of it. I must say I was quite startled when I heard that you've been attacked by a dog. For a moment I feared that infamous murderer of so many had come back from the dead.
You mean, the professor?
Fortunately, I see your prized throat is unscathed. That stiff, turned-up collar of yours obviously afforded some welcome protection.
Was I that close to death? All I really remember is the dog licking my face over and over and over again.
Well, if you wish to avoid such troubles in the future, a little mustard spread on the cheek should do the trick. I should think that would balance the sweetness of your bandage rather splendidly.
I guess we'll have the tea?
The steam is rising gently from the kettle as always.
Yes, it doesn't feel right somehow, unless it is. But the steam has an unusual scent today.
Perhaps the sweet potatoes that I brought back from Japan with me already.
Oh.
Oh, Mr. Naruhodo, I heard that, you know.
Tears of joy, Mrs. Sato, from my mouth. I guess we moved down to the suite to have the tea then, which makes sense. Second of November, Sholmes' suite.
Mit dem Schwarzbiergebot. Brot und Wien fein.
What the fuck happened here?
Den Schlund es mir
What the hell happened?
deine Wut
What on earth is going on in here? Am I having a bad dream?
ich befahl.
Ah, no, it's an old German folk song. Rather a fine rendition, I think.
That's the least of my concerns.
Iris?
Iris, what's the matter?
Who is that sprawling, that relaxed gentleman over there?
Iris? Is she even listening?
Excuse me, sir. I do apologize for troubling you whilst you're singing so merrily, but would you be kind enough to explain the situation?
Well, that worked.
A grown gentleman and a mute young girl. A rather tantalizing juxtaposition. And one that appears to have incited the gods of deduction within me to find their voices too.
Ah, Mr. Sholmes, do you mean...
The strains of reasoning within me are playing now as a delightful duet. One melody sings of a reunion full of nostalgia, whilst the other is a morose thing about the great secret you're trying to so desperately to conceal, Iris.
She's turned as white as a sheet.
So as usual, you've instantly seen to the very heart of the matter.
And by the time my own brief performance is over, I believe this gentleman's song will reach its finale. So then, to Musicland, where all is sweetness and delicacy and harmony. Pray, do enjoy Sherlock Holmes' latest logic and reasoning spectacular.
The Great Deduction.
The game is afoot.
Topic 1. Man's identity.
Firstly, we consider the gentleman's nationality. Clearly he's a German with no grasp of the English language, as evidenced by the dramatic song he sings and his apparent inability to understand when asked to desist. So, why is this man here at all, and in such apparently high spirits? The answer, of course, Iris, is clearly known to you. Indeed, we need only to follow the gaze of those bright young eyes to unravel that particular part of the mystery. The reasoning for the man's mildly irritating warbling is revealed by the herbal tea. You obviously offered our German guest a cup of your latest herbal blend. The tea's delectable flavor has made the man's spirit soar, and resulted in this joyful ditty tumbling incessantly from his lips. I eagerly await sampling the flavor myself, that I may join the fellow in a state of elation. Now, to the next question. Who exactly is this gentleman availing himself so thoroughly of this city? As it happens, a number of years ago now, a certain gentleman of German origin engaged my services in solving a particularly delicate case. He required the retrieval of letters once sent to an acquaintance that might have proved problematic. In order to conceal his noble identity, he also arrived at my office in a mask. The gentleman's name was Wilhelm Gottfried Sigismund von Ormstein, the King of Germany. If my memory serves, the mask worn by this gentleman is identical. Yes, there can be no question that mask belongs to the King of Germany. It would appear that His Majesty remembers the fine service I afforded him, and has decided to show his face again, mask and all, in order to express his gratitude. A well-mannered monarch indeed, wouldn't you agree, my dear fellow?
Iris looks so done.
So the identity of this masked visitor is in fact my former client, the King of Germany. Indeed, his son is currently in London as well, enjoying the wonders of the Great Exhibition.
Oh, yeah, we did actually interact with his son. It was in the previous case. Huh. The King of Germany. Yeah, he was talking about, he was really obsessed with balloons. The Girl's Silence, topic 2.
Which leaves us with one remaining imponderable. Yes, you, young Iris. But you're apparently but your apparently inexplicable silence is unable to hide the truth. Yes, the reason for your muteness is concealed inside that knapsack. A £5 note, I believe. I must say, as your compatriot, I'm deeply saddened. It would appear that you've allowed yourself to be bribed into silence by His Royal Highness, earning yourself some spending money in exchange for keeping quiet about the King's secret.
Obsessed with balloons is a whole different level of crazy, I don't know. Well, I mean, it was like a... I think he was like around a 10-year-old kid who loves balloons. Yeah, he just kept buying a new balloon every time he loses one, because he's that rich, because he's a prince. He's a German prince.
And now, the final piece of the puzzle. What is the secret you strive to hide with your silence, Iris? Ah, yes, we need only to follow that brief involuntary twitch of your eyes to find the answer. You were attempting to abscond with that coffee cup. My favorite coffee cup, in fact. Or should I say, the handle of my favorite coffee cup. It appears that His High-Spirited Highness broke in the midst of his hijinks. Which leads us to the sad truth.
And that's it for me today. Alright, see ya.
My favorite coffee cup has been broken by the King of Germany, and Iris, you tried to conceal it from me. I shall have the bill sent via government channels to the German royal family for its replacement.
Conclusion: to hide the coffee cup.
Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great detection of this painful puzzle.
That's the first time he's looked depressed after a spectacular.
With your silence as well, this fellow's jovial warbling rather rings in the ears, does it not?
Mr. Sholmes, I must say something does rather trouble me.
Pray, Mr. Zato, do tell!
His Royal Highness doesn't appear to have moved a muscle since we arrived.
Ah!
And you haven't said a word either, Iris. If Mr. Sholmes has it right, you might as well own up to it now.
Your reasoning is entirely without substance, I must admit.
And one other thing, Mr. Sholmes.
Yet another grievance, Mr. Naruhodo? Surely not.
Well, I actually read the story of that case recently, the one you were just describing. And according to that, at least, it wasn't the King of Germany. It was the King of Bohemia.
Goodness, was it?
Yes, that's quite true. Master Gotz, the prince, testified to that in court. In his words, I have come to see the great exhibition all the way from my home in Bohemia.
I would ask you to keep that minor error to yourselves. It could easily become quite a scandal.
I believe, Mr. Naruhodo, that it's our turn now to make some corrections to a number of minor errors that may have slipped in.
Yes, even Mr. Sholmes is willing to admit he might be slightly wide of the mark this time. Although it's clear that Iris is definitely hiding something. We need to find out the truth behind the mysterious scene.
But the one truth is incontrovertible. My coffee cup is no more. So, shall we embark again on a joint presentation of Herlock Sholmes' Logic and Reasoning Spectacular?
Course correction. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. Here we go.
Firstly, we consider the gentleman's nationality. Clearly he's a German with no grasp of the English language. As evidenced by the Germanic song he sings and his apparent inability to understand when asked to desist. So, why is the man here at all, and in such apparently high spirits? The answer, of course, Iris, is clearly known to you. Indeed, we need only to follow the gaze of those bright young eyes to unravel that particular part of this mystery. The reasoning for this man's mildly irritating warbling is revealed by the herbal tea.
So what? It's some mix of herbs that gives you the urge to sing?
Goodness, I should like to try some.
And I'd like to hear your singing, but this man... Just how long does he intend to keep up with that tune, do you suppose?
As I said, he's been stock still the entire time. And if you look closely, his lips aren't moving either.
Ah,
So I'm not sure what's actually responsible for the spirited singing. But I suspect that answer lies at the end of Iris's gaze.
wait, this...
It's a gramophone, still rarely seen in our own country.
Der mit dem Schwarzbier
The sound certainly appears to be coming from the horn.
But machines singing? That can't be right.
Science and technology are changing the world rapidly, Mr. Naruhodo. What's right is changing too.
Ugh, it's too much for my brain.
Well, at least we found our answer.
Yeah, it's the gramophone. The reason for the man's mildly irritating warbling is revealed by the gramophone.
Indeed, for no well-bred gentleman would break into an obscure folk song when making a social call. In other words, this gentleman isn't singing at all. In fact, it would appear that the fellow is unconscious.
wie ein Diamant.
Oh. Ah, the music seems to have stopped now.
I ask you, Mr. Naruhodo,
Yes?
why would I have purchased a recording of that gibberish?
How should I know?
Well, never mind. On with the deduction. Who exactly is this gentleman availing himself so thoroughly of the settee? The settee, you said.
SETI, I don't know how it's pronounced.
As it happens, a number of years ago now, a certain gentleman of German origin engaged my services in solving a particularly delicate case. He required the retrieval of letters once sent to an acquaintance that might have proved problematic. In order to conceal his noble identity, he also arrived at my office in a mask. The gentleman's name was Wilhelm Gottfried Sigismund von Ornstein, the King of Germany. If my memory serves, the mask is worn by this gentleman is identical. Yes, there can be no question. That mask belongs to the King of Germany.
Although we've already established that it was actually the King of Bohemia, it seems that the Scholem intends to persist with his Germany theory for some reason. Come to think of it, the young prince was wearing a mask as well, wasn't he?
Master Cox, the boy whom you had in tears.
Don't remind me, or anyone else.
Do you suppose all members of the aristocracy of mainland England, mainland Europe wear masks?
I'm sure they do. Well, probably anyway. Sholmes versus Gumshoe for the most useless but most funny characters. I know, right? The point is, that mask doesn't belong to any king.
No, that's right, as we well know, because we can identify the true owner of this mask.
Yeah, it's Cosmo. Oops. Yeah. Yes, there can be no question. That mask belongs to Kazuma Sogi.
In other words, my memory is sublimely unreliable.
Only you could try to make that sound positive. Cosmo's mask has been languishing on this metal chest for several days. Though that doesn't explain why the gentleman is wearing it now.
But it is now a simple matter to determine our guest's true identity. After all, the gentleman is unconscious.
Yeah, just take the mask off.
We need only excuse ourselves in advance, gently lift the mask and peer beneath it.
Yeah, it's Yuji Mikotoba, Susato's dad. I don't believe it.
Ah! Father! I'm afraid, Miss Susato, you must be mistaken. No! I think not, Mr. Sholmes. Then it would appear our logic and reasoning has once again revealed the truth. This mysterious visitor is my unconscious father, Eugene Mikotoba.
Logic and reasoning, or just looking insane? Eugene Mikotoba. Solved. Here we go, topic 2.
Which leaves us with one remaining imponderable. Yes, you, young Iris. But your apparently inexplicable silence is unable to hide the truth. Yes, the reasoning for your muteness is concealed inside that knapsack.
So that's a £5 note poking out from the Iris's knapsack, is it?
Oh dear, I can't be sure. Most money that we encounter is in coin form.
I know, I'm not even sure if we've seen any banknotes here in Britain at all. Have we?
But anyway, Father will never have paid money for Iris's silence.
He certainly seems like the silent type himself, though. Judging by his present state, there must be some other reason for Iris's silence, I suppose.
Perhaps what Iris is trying so hard not to give away with her eyes is something entirely different.
Not knapsack. Where's she looking? That's a weird slipper there. This slipper features in the Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, isn't it?
It does. When I first saw it on the mantelpiece, I very nearly fainted with excitement.
Doesn't Iris keep her elevances in there?
Yes, that part was never mentioned in the stories.
We could swap it for the Japanese equivalent of a slipper for fun. In other words, for a wooden get a sandal.
But that wouldn't be possible to hide anything inside.
Which matters because... Was the tea? Or what's in the naps? We could look in the knapsack, I guess. Now I think about it, Iris always wears that little bag on her back, doesn't she?
Yes, that's right. Though it's easy to forget about it because you can't see it from the front. There are 2 little fat dolls attached to it as well.
Are there? I had no idea. I don't remember ever seeing them before. Is it possible there's always a £5 note poking out from her bag and that I just haven't noticed before, too?
I couldn't say with absolute certainty, but I think it's unlikely.
I guess we maybe look at the note? I guess we can try to look at the plates. I mean, I don't think there's... Okay, hold on. Or maybe the metal chest?
This metal chest, it contains important documents, doesn't it?
Yes, details of all the cases Mr. Sholmes has worked on over the years. Written up by Iris's father, if I'm remembering correctly. Iris insists that this chest is kept locked at all times. She's never once shown me inside.
Well, its contents are invaluable to her, I suppose, and entirely irreplaceable. But look at it now. The catch is unlocked for once.
Ah, so it is. That's hard to ignore.
Very. I've never seen that chest unlocked before, and all the time we've been staying here at Baker Street.
Let me double check everything else. Yeah, that seems to be the case. Yep, there we go. Yes, the reason for your muteness is concealed inside that metal chest.
An excellent observation, for upon close inspection, there is something different about the chest's appearance. It's kept locked at all times, yet now the catch is open. Evidently, this has something to do with your refusal to speak, Iris. But it's simple enough matter to incite you to speak, I'm sure. I merely need to open this chest. Here we go. No! Eddie, don't!
Oh my god. Mr. Sholmes!
Mr. Sholmes! Eddie!
Oh. I guess we figured out what knocked him out. He's dead.
Never. Oh, Hurley, I told you not to open it.
Ah, so you found your voice now, Iris.
Ah!
In other words, what just happened clearly reveals the truth here. Yes, the real reason for your silence until now is...
This is somewhat different to the usual dance of deduction you perform with Mr. Sholmes, isn't it?
Yeah, because we weren't expecting him to get knocked out in the middle of the sequence. Well, he's left me alone on the ballroom floor, so I'm gonna have to dance this next part solo. And anyway, I'll need to get to the bottom of this, for my own peace of mind. Now then, Iris isn't usually the silent type, so...
You mean you don't actually know the answer yet, despite that knowing point of the finger before?
Mr. Sato, sometimes a man needs to point his finger first and think later. Yes, the tradition continues within the bloodline. Yeah.
Oh, well, if you say so. I think we better examine Iris more closely, and try to rescue the situation then.
Something in her hand? Oh. That's a key she's holding, look. I'm sure that wasn't in her hands before, was it?
No, you're quite right. It's appeared as if by magic.
That's strange. A big, old iron key? Where did it materialize from?
Take that!
Yes, the real reason for your silence until now is that key behind your back.
Ah!
When Mr. Sholmes was thrown into the air before. Just before you called out to try and stop him, you slipped something out of your mouth. That something is the key now in your hands. No doubt the key to the chest.
You're so clever, Bruno.
So now it becomes clear. Thanks to Mrs. Sholmes' graphic demonstration, we can well imagine what happened here.
But...
Professor Migatoba also opened that metal chest only to be punched into the air. And land sprawly on the seat and the settee.
But wait, that doesn't explain all the facts. What about the stylish scarf, and the cup of tea, and above all, why would he be wearing Cosmo-sama's mask?
Well, for those curious details, I can think of only one explanation. Clearly, an unbelievable miracle took place in this room. Isn't that right, Iris? Consider how the room was arranged before this whole painful experience took place. When Professor Migatoba opened the chest, completely unaware of what awaited him inside, the mask was flung into the air just as he was, only to land neatly on his face when it fell back down. And the teacup's journey through the air ended when it caught the unconscious professor's finger.
You mean to say that stylish scarf?
It's actually just a tablecloth. This is the great detective's office, after all, a place of miraculous deductions. Would you expect anything less?
Yes, you're right. It happened exactly as you said. Brilliant, Rudo!
Thus concludes Ryunosuke Naruhodo's great deduction of this punchy puzzle. Least convoluted, the great Ace Attorney explanation.
So then, why don't I make a fresh pot of tea for us all?
Oh,
Objection!
an admirable performance, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, he got back up quickly.
But in the final act of the show there, you rather missed everything of importance.
Mr. Sholmes?
If you would cast your mind back to my earlier deduction. Iris, clearly you're hiding a great secret. Ah,
She is? From the look on her face. Mr. Sholmes must be right. whatever that grand secret is, the cat isn't out of the bag yet.
So I put it to you again. You were attempting to abscond with that coffee cup.
Yeah, it really is a shame about Mr. Jones's cup. It must have been smashed when the Professor Migatobo opened the chest.
Oh dear, so many things seem to have been broken here.
But now that the deduction has taken a different direction, Iris doesn't seem to be trying to hide the broken cup anymore.
In other words, our great secret is something else.
Let's put in our observational skills to work here one final time then. What's... okay. No. Is there anything else in the room? I guess we'd look at this first. Okay. Mr. Sholmes' favorite cup.
Well, what's left of it? Just the handle.
It was obviously hurled into the air along with Professor Migatoba. If only it had been this cup that had caught on his finger before it hit the floor.
Yes, but anyway, whatever Iris is trying to hide, it's clearly not this handle.
It's not a knapsack, is it? I think it might be in the knapsack somewhere. Surely this time, at last, the knapsack is going to be the answer.
I'm really not sure why you're so intent on showing Iris's bag to be complicit to these events.
Because it's a sizable bag, you're not for a sizable...
Big enough to carry things around, Mr. Naruhodo. That's what bags are for.
So, the knapsack might never see the limelight, you mean?
I really wouldn't like to say.
Is there anything on the bag? Just double checking the rest of the office. I haven't played this one, I don't remember what it was. Oh, you played this game before. Oh wait, no, yeah, sorry, I got you mixed up with another person. Yeah, there seemed to be something on Iris. Yeah, I'm just double checking the surroundings just in case there's any other analysis. Okay. Oh, there it is. Haha, there we go. Ah, look, there. There seems to be more papers there. Is Iris trying to hide them underneath the tray?
The insignia, Mr. Naruhodo. It's an official Scotland Yard document.
What? But
why would Iris have... We must ask her.
An official Scotland Yard document?
Take that!
You were attempting to abscond with that case file.
Iris, as you know very well, nothing escapes the attention of a great detective. Oh no!
We visited Scotland Yard's autopsy laboratory earlier today. Dr. Gorey informed us that the autopsy report of Clint Von Zieks had gone missing.
Clint Von Zieks? Yes, I do seem to recall. That some years ago, I asked to see the report in question. You were with me, weren't you, Iris?
You mean it was you, Iris? So those papers you have there are...
I'm sorry. Forgive me!
To hide the case file. Solved. Yeah, I played this game 2 times with this one ear out and one and out in the next. Okay, I see. Trilogy is the... yeah. Fair amount. Yeah, fair enough.
In truth, I would like to have thought I could have predicted the booby-trap chest. But it caught me completely off guard. I was very nearly the late consulting detective Herlock Sholmes. I'm sorry, Hurdy.
So you mean this autopsy report really is...
Yes, I took it from the lab, even though I knew it was very important.
Was there something in it that troubled you, Iris?
Not exactly something that troubled me. Something I'd been looking for. When I saw this report, I saw the writing in it. I knew it was Daddy's.
Only Phoenix is... Oh yeah, you haven't played the Latent crossover one, okay. Because you only had the PlayStation, hopefully those games are next. Okay, yeah, fair enough. It's a not so well known title, to say the least. Yeah, cause that game, yeah, cause right now there's only the 3DS copy of that title. The writing.
Your father's writing? What do you really mean?
Iris? Must be something that's hard for her to talk about.
Forgive me for interrupting, my dear fellows.
Mr. Sholmes? What is it?
I feel as though the poor unconscious gentleman on the settee has been somewhat forgotten. Father. Perhaps we should find our guest somewhere more peaceful to rest. Mr. Naruhodo?
Yes?
Would you be so kind as to lend him your bed? We must do our very best to make him comfortable, I feel.
Oh, yes, of course. I'll help you carry him up.
So will I.
No, I can manage alone, thank you. You have tea to enjoy. We wouldn't want Iris's brew to stew.
Because there's no better way to make the professor comfortable than dragging him upstairs like a trunk. I wonder, perhaps that was deliberate. Maybe Mr. Sholmes is making himself scarce to give Iris the chance to talk more freely.
We must use this opportunity to talk with Iris. And find out what's going on.
Would you like to tell us about it, Iris? About your father?
I'm sure I told you before, didn't I? That Daddy used to be Hurley's partner.
Yes, and that notes all about the cases they solved together are kept inside that metal chest.
That's right. Hurley told me. You see, he said that Daddy's somewhere far away now, so we can't meet.
That's one way of describing it.
Then, when I secretly unlocked the chest and read through the papers inside, I started to build up a picture in my head of what Daddy must be like.
Well, that's only natural.
You're just like any other girl of your age.
I read that Daddy was a professor for medical science, so I studied and took my degree too.
Well, that's only natural, I suppose.
In that respect, you're not quite like any other girl of your age, though.
But there was one thing that I could never find out. Daddy's name.
Ah.
His name wasn't anywhere on any of the notes that he made about his work with Hurley. But then one day...
That's what happened, is it? When you saw this autopsy report, you finally managed to work it out. Is that right?
Yes.
So it was the handwriting in the report that caught her eye.
When I saw the writing on that report, I could hardly believe it. I know that handwriting. I thought to myself,
Because it was the same as the writing you'd seen on your father's case notes.
exactly. I was desperate to compare the two properly. I needed to see them side by side. I asked the doctor in the laboratory, but I was told I couldn't take the report away. And even worse, I was told that the first and last time we'd be allowed to even look at it there.
So you decided to steal it.
When I compared the autopsy report with the case notes I have here, there was no doubt. The handwriting was exactly the same. It was Daddy's.
And the signature of the coroner at the bottom of the autopsy report.
Read Dr. John H. Wilson.
So that's how I finally found out. I learned Daddy's name at last.
I see.
Ever since then, I've called myself Iris Wilson. And that's also when I had the brilliant idea of writing stories all about Daddy's exciting times with Hurley. I decided there and then that I'd write the adventures of Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, Iris. I had no idea the stories had quite such a deep personal significance for you.
I can see why the autopsy report was so important to her now. And why she was prepared to break the law to get her hands on it.
I must apologize, Iris. This is really all my fault. Hurley? I made a promise, you see, that until the time was right, I'd keep the details about your father a secret. I know. I've been very naughty. I'll take the autopsy report back to Dr. Corey and apologize. I promise. Yes, we'll go together, I think.
Then, let me look after it until we get there.
I must go and water my herbs, I think. I'll see you all later.
She looks like she's on the verge of crying. Yeah, poor Iris. She must be feeling awful. I know Mr. Sholmes is here for her, but still.
Ah!
What?
What? What's the meaning of this, Mr. Sholmes?
Mr. Sholmes?
Oh dear me. So, you've noticed, I see. But that would mean...
What on earth's the matter, Mr. Sato? You've turned as white as a sheet.
It's this autopsy report, Mr. Nadaholdo. The one from 10 years ago. The writing
Isn't Dr. Wilson's at all.
Huh? What do you mean? How could you possibly know that?
Because I know this writing very well. This writing is my father's.
What? What? Professor Mikutoba's?
Indeed, it's true. And, now you know, my dear fellows.
No, I don't know anything. What on earth does all of this mean, Mr. Sholmes? Because the idea that's slowly forming in my mind is just too extraordinary to believe. I'm guessing they're hinting that Eugene Mikutoba may have had a hand in breaking out the professor, aka Kazuma Sogi's dad. Please, you have to explain. So, this autopsy report was actually penned by Professor Mikutoba then. But that makes no sense. It's not possible, surely.
Not possible, my dear fellow. Pray and take a deep breath and think again.
Yes, you're right. In some ways, it actually makes a great deal of sense.
It does?
10 years ago, when Father returned to Japan after his extended study tour in Britain.
And prior to his return, where was Dr. Mikutoba engaged?
Ah, of course. He was an assistant in Dr. Wilson's laboratory, learning about forensic science.
And as an assistant, he would have aided with the dissection work, making detailed notes, which would be assembled into the full autopsy report. Once this work was complete, the head coroner would check the contents and put his signature on the document.
In other words, the only writing of Dr. Wilson's in the report will be his signature at the end.
I see. So Iris got the wrong end of the stick, you mean? She saw that and assumed the whole report had been written by Dr. John H. Wilson.
Which is very understandable, of course.
What a complicated situation. Oh, okay, never mind. Or maybe that could be a theory that could be brought up later on. Thinking about it, most of what we know about you, Mr. Sholmes, comes from published stories of your exploits.
Yes, The Good Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, written by Iris.
And we really have no way of knowing what's fact and what's fiction.
Most troubling for you, my dear fellow, I'm sure.
So what about this supposed partner of yours? Did he really exist or not?
Ah, you've come straight to the point, I see. And please come straight to the answer. I believe Iris explained it in one of her installments. He was a trusted comrade, and the only person I could truly have called a friend.
And did this partner of yours truly make a record of all your cases? Are his notes really stored inside that metal chest?
Absolutely, my dear madam. Absolutely.
So, where's your partner now?
We rarely meet. You see, he lives on the other side of the world.
But if this autopsy report and the records of all your cases were penned by the same hand, and if the autopsy report was written, though not signed by your famous partner, there would only be one logical conclusion.
Pray, impress me.
Your partner would have to be Eugene Mikotoba. In other words, Mr. Sato's father.
Pardon my word, Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes?
You are coming along wonderfully. You have hit upon the method at last. You finally grasped the art of deduction.
You mean to say...
Allow me to introduce you
Oh.
to my great friend and partner, Mikotoba.
Oh shit. Professor Mikotoba? Oh. I thought it was Dr. John H. Wilson, but no, it was him. Oh.
Does this mean that you're the real Dr. Wilson?
No, my dear. I'm still my old self, Eugene Mikotoba, your father.
Oh, of course.
This obviously is too much for Susato to take in.
I must say, though, how my old friend has attained worldwide celebrity as a great mystery solver is the greatest mystery of all.
I still remember the first time we met. Ah, pray me, when was it again, Mikotoba?
16 years ago, 16 years ago, Sholmes.
Ah, yes, quite. 16 years ago.
I just arrived from Japan with Seishiro and Yunshin. I was in search of lodgings close to the hospital, some comfortable rooms at a reasonable price.
But rents are devilishly high in that particular area.
That's right, so I decided I need someone to share lodgings and the expense, and was fortunate enough to be introduced to Sholmes, who found himself in a similar situation.
I was a callow fellow back then, a mere shadow of the great detective you see before you now. I was working at the hospital's chemical laboratory at the time, indulging my curiosities for a little game.
And the situation of our cohabitation led to us pursuing cases together, you see. Hard to believe, it was a mere 6 years. We had a great many adventures.
But then, in the last year of Mikotoba's stay in Britain, that most infamous case of cases presented itself. The case with which you've become rather familiar yourselves, the Professor killings.
After the trial, Seishiro and I were summoned back home.
Hardly surprising given the circumstances.
So there you have it. And as you know, all the details recorded by my trusty chronicler remain in that metal chest.
This is just amazing. Professor Mikotoba really is Mr. Sholmes' famous partner.
Father?
What is, my dear? What a cutting look.
As your daughter, I'm very proud to learn that you were the great detective's great partner. But nevertheless, there's another mystery that I really must ask you to explain now.
And that is...
You know very well what it is. The unresolved matter of Iris's father.
Ah, of course. I almost forgotten about that one.
I should have seen this coming, I suppose.
Iris told us that all the notes about the Great Detective's adventures that are in that metal chest were written by her father. Isn't that correct, Mr. Sholmes?
Alright, I'm gonna go. Everything was a bit fun. Take care, and thanks for the awesome stream. Yep, no problem. See ya.
That is indeed what I told young Iris. But if you're Mr. Sholmes' partner, father, and you wrote all these case notes, then Iris's father must be you.
Oh.
Upon my word, Mrs. Sato, you are coming along wonderfully as well. You too have failed upon the method at last. You finally grasped the art of deduction.
What?
What you've always told me, father, is that my mother died when I was born 16 years ago, and you left me in grandmother's care whilst you embarked on your study tour in Britain, and I've always accepted that, but all this about Iris.
Oh, there it is. Susato-san's ice cold stare.
No. No, hold on a minute. It was very complicated. I mean, it's really not what you think.
And perhaps you would like to explain exactly what it is?
There it is. Now the ice go from ice cold red to red hot just before she.
No, really, you've got the wrong end of the stick. Sholmes, say something, man.
That's quite enough, my fiery fellows.
Mr. Sholmes,
When did you get all dressed up? Whilst I don't like to interrupt this exciting exploration of the past, Mikotoba and I have an urgent matter that requires a short excursion. But it's very late, Mr. Sholmes. Where must you go? Why, my dear madam? Is that not obvious? My partner and I must peruse our natural enemies. So, get your code, Mikotoba. The game is afoot.
But Sholmes, I really must give Susato a full explanation, I think.
Later, my dear fellow, later. Our carriage awaits downstairs already.
You haven't changed one iota, have you? I mean, really. I visit our home after 10 long years. When I opened that chest in a fit of nostalgia, I quite inexplicably passed out. And as if that wasn't enough, when I eventually regained consciousness, I plunged straight into all this.
Father, please, go with Mr. Sholmes now.
What?
I have no doubt that whatever happened, you were acting in everyone's best interests. I trust you, completely.
Susato?
And sending the great detective and his great partner off on renewed adventures together is more than I could ever have hoped for in my wildest dreams.
Very well then, we'll speak again later.
So, I believe your own work is done for the day. I wish you the best of luck for tomorrow.
Yes, Naruto. Good luck in battle. And in reaching a decision.
a decision about whether to go back to Japan, I suppose. And well, that was a long.
So much happened that day that I barely knew what to do with myself.
I know, right?
It would only be later that I'd come to realize how amidst the chaos I'd unleashed were all the clues I needed to finally unearth the truth, and that all the turmoil was necessary to give me the resolve to see everything through.
So wait, what was the situation? Wait, you... Yeah, so that... Wait a minute. So what the fuck? Yuji Mikotoba was Iris's father the entire time? Oh. That's... How the hell did that happen? Yeah, I'm like, what the fuck? I was not expecting that, of all things. Huh. Well, that was a lot. Just like what Naruhodo said, there's been a lot of fucking information that just dropped on our laps. Like, what? So wait. Are you telling me that Iris is what? Susato's half sister? or yeah, just sister in general. Like, what? What brought on that about? What the hell? That's... Oh man, that's gotta be a lot to uncover in the next stream then. Anyway, farewell for now.